Hello.
What up?
What
It's
up, squad?
Wednesday. You know what that means. We're back. Fan
Yeah.
club. So exciting. It's a weird day today.
Weird. Weird
Um
Wednesday.
Usually fan club is probably the most eventful thing that happen on Wednesdays, but I live in New York City if you don't know, and I'm looking at an orange sky. Air quality here is the worst in the world at the moment. So I want to, and also in Jersey, I know this area, it's pretty bad. So I definitely want to send good vibes out there to everyone that sees that and dealing with this. Hey, Rakarsha.
Good vibes received, babes, because it
Yeah.
Now the
ain't
show
easy out here.
begins.
I
Yo.
do want to bring up the rest of the crew. Hey, Justin.
I felt like I was in timeout real quick.
No.
I was like, what the hell?
How is the skies in the DMV area?
You could smell it. It's a little better now, but like this morning it was like, bro, I stepped out and instantly it was just like,
Hi,
what
Dylan.
the fuck? It's like God having like a barbecue and we weren't invited.
Yo, it's so crazy. So yeah,
That's way to describe it.
we wanna keep
Justin?
everyone in our thoughts that's dealing with that craziness. Then of course we lost a legend today, wrestling legend, the Iron Sheik. He's my dad's favorite bad guy. So he used to call me a jabroni when I was a kid. And he always said that it wasn't from The Rock. And then I got older and I was just like, oh my God. Does anyone watch? Do you watch Young Rock?
I was getting ready to go there. I was getting ready to go there. Can we, how good was he on Young? The person, shout out to the person who, um, portrayed him. But on Young Rock, you got to see why we hear the word jabroni, a word that has become very part of our vocabulary, especially if you're an attitude
Mhm,
era kid that, I'm pretty sure you said it to somebody else once or twice.
mhm. Yeah. Definitely rest in peace, Iron Sheik. I think if you have been a wrestling fan, you remember him. And if you're a little younger, he's a IWC legend at this point.
Oh,
His
yeah.
Twitter, he definitely took advantage of his social media. And I got to see a couple of documentaries about him recently. And I grew a way bigger respect for him. So rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm like, who's going to tell everybody to F something? Like, he always had an issue with something. It was always F. But his last tweet was literally F wildfires. And then look at
Mhm.
what's going on right now. So
Wow.
he's definitely somebody who respected the art of kayfabe, which is
Mhm.
something you can never take for granted. He was somebody, apparently, to his fans, that was one of the humbling, most welcoming guys you ever met in your life. So just like rest in the highest of powers, man. Like, I was a fan of the Iron Sheik. If y'all go on my Twitter, you already know the vibes. That's staying there for a very long time. So it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it.
I want to give him his flowers what flowers is due.
Right.
It's going to kind of go in the opposite direction of where Seindole just went, where I knew where she's going, but we ain't going to go there
We're not going
because we all
there.
know
I was
how I feel.
just
But I will say,
going
is he not the most important transitional champion ever?
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't get to 1984 with Bob Backlund that way. I'm sorry. Like, it just wouldn't have felt the same. It wouldn't have felt like that big moment. Oh, that's so beautiful day in January 1984 at Madison Square Garden. You needed a guy like the Iron Sheik, and he did the honors.
Yeah. Hey, Krista. He did. And we had to be okay with him like losing. mm, mm, mm.
You talking about me, but it's okay.
Mm,
You talking about me, but it's okay. We're
mm,
going to let it rock.
Yeah, so
He's
rest
still that dude.
to the Iron Sheik.
yeah. Did I tell
Uh,
y'all I met him one time?
no.
No.
Please tell.
It's actually one of those to be honest with you, like one of those things I forgot until like I think about it, because in 2008, I would go to MCW shows sporadically, and they've always been known to like bring in legends. But people who do not know, MCW is where Lita got her start. She mentioned the owner Dan McDevitt in her Hall of Fame speech, and the Hardy Boys, they've come through there very heavy. So in 2008, there was a show for whatever it was, the Shane Shamrock Cup, and Shane Shamrock, no relation to Ken, but he's like a local legend in that area only. And he, because like, and I'm gonna be respectful because I heard the real story, but he died, and because of that, like they always honor him. You know how they do in wrestling, right? So on this particular day, for whatever reason, shout out to brother Brandon. He the one who got me into independent wrestling. And every year I would always go to the Shamrock Cup. And on this year, like the headliner was Kevin Nash. And I remember like me and my little cousin, we excited. My little cousin, the one who does the music for my show, he was 10. And it was like, oh man, that's Kevin Nash. I'm excited. I get to see Kevin Nash, and he don't know nothing. Like he got in the rust, like he was born during the Attitude Era, but he would always go back wrestling. So the Iron Sheik is at the table, and I go up to him. I say, hey, how you doing? And he's just like the nicest person. Like you see, Bailey had tweeted her photo of him, and it's one of those things. Like me and Cal was talking about this earlier. If you're friends with Cal, you could check out. He posted a picture that he had with him. And it's like Iron Sheik giving him the Cobra Clutch. It's the coolest thing. And I was telling him, I said, I forgot. And I said, had I like appreciated the moment in its time, because this is before Twitter, mind you, but I would have appreciated it and certainly would have had a pic and everything. But yeah, I just, thanks for letting me share the story. I forgot about it until like, I was like, oh yeah, I did meet him.
That's so cool that you got to meet him. I do want to shout out Seindole on Hardy Wrestling Podcast. You were so good on it. You and Steph have such great chemistry. Two of my favorite people.
Thank
And
you.
thank you everyone that is in the fan club, all our regulars, all our VIP, and everyone is shouting our girl out.
Yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. We were just looking in awe because it was like 9:00 at night. I expect for everybody to be in the bed, but y'all stayed up for little old me, and I just appreciated tenfold. It was a great conversation with Stephanie. We definitely make plans on doing it again. There's even some talks about her appearing on another space of ours. So with that being said, if you have not tapped in, she's officially launched the episode on Apple Podcasts and all her streaming devices. She also has the full length stream on her YouTube channel. So check out the Hardy Wrestling podcast page. I want to thank Stephanie, per usual, for having me on her space and for us just talking how I talked to you guys. She basically became one of the fans and one of the friends of the fan club. So it just was a great ass time. It was nothing different than what I do over here, which is keeping it real, keeping it authentic, and taking the kayfabe every once in a while. That's all.
I love it. So today's fan club, we're going to be getting into, it's kind of like half the year. We're going to get into our favorite wrestling moments of 2023 so far. And I think I speak for everyone. I say it's been a pretty good 6 months in wrestling. It's a really good time to be a wrestling fan. I think there were more highs than lows, and that hasn't always been the case the last few years. So I'm excited to get into it. But before that, we have a lot going on as per usual. Tomorrow is Thirsty Thursday. It's our Pride edition. So it'll be me, hopefully Seindole, CRISTA.
Oh, I'm in the building.
CRISPA, and we have some special guests. Pablo the Don is joining us tomorrow. They are hilarious. They are a TikTok influencer. They cover entertainment, music, and just started covering wrestling. But was really exciting about our interview with them is that wrestling has always been in their core. It's why they got into performing. They are always rocking wrestling merch, and it was her first time talking about wrestling on a wrestling podcast. So we were so excited to have them on. It is a really good conversation. It's on YouTube and all your podcast platforms. So go listen to that, go watch that, and then join us tomorrow night for Thirsty Thursday. You know the vibes. Grab a drink of any kind and just chop it up with us. It's going to be good. We'll have some more special guests. It's our Pride edition. We always have a good time. It's our third Pride edition of Thirsty Thursday, which is insane to think about how fast time has gone by. So make sure you check that out. And then if you haven't, we did a spotlight on Woman, which was long overdue. It was exciting to be able to put a spotlight on someone whose career is always talked about in a dark way. So it was really important for us to go back and highlight some of the contributions that Nancy made. And it's a really good episode. So if you kind of don't know anything about her and you've always wondered, or you want to kind of see if we cover everything and who else we should cover, let us know. Leave it in the comments. We love feedback. We also dropped some Patreon content. I reviewed the premiere episode.
Yay! I'm sorry.
The
Go ahead.
Ring, Chris and Tammy. I am fascinated by, you guys know I love Dark Side of the Ring. We covered it last week in the fan club. Go check out the replay on YouTube. But I also love how they humanize a lot of these wrestling tragedy stories. Like, you only hear the really bad stuff about Chris Candido and Sunny and her being in jail and all that kind of stuff and all the kind of mistakes that they made. But Dark Side of the Ring did a really good job of showing that these were like young kids that got into wrestling and the wrestling business literally chewed them up and spit them out. Sadly, Chris lost his life, but he did turn his life around. Sunny obviously hasn't, but it's a really good Dark Side. And if you want to hear my thoughts on it, subscribe to our Patreon. It's only $1 a month, so please go check that out. And then of course CRISPA B and CRISPA is back with Sound Off this Friday exclusively on Twitch. Yeah, it's just, it's a lot going on.
As a Patreon subscriber, I checked it out. Man, listen, the way you broke that down, shout out to you. We always don't get flowers on here, but it was definitely a great episode. I really enjoy hearing your thoughts about it. Especially, there was something you noticed about Jim Cornette that I did. And I was like, "Yo, that's funny." Yeah. And then even with Sunny, like you said last week, the fact she was a pre-med student.
The fact that she was a pre-med student,
I would never guess that.
Going to school to be a fucking doctor, and she got into wrestling.
She was going to school to be a doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah.
That was a dope episode, and definitely
it was. That was, I think, the biggest mic drop because I never knew that, and I've probably watched everything about Sunny that was made up until Dark Side, and I never knew that about her.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out. I would love to know all of your thoughts on it. But I'm excited to get into the show. So shall we take a quick break and everyone in the club come back with your favorite wrestling moments of the year so far? I'm talking about from Royal Rumble to Mania to Backlash to the new championships to everything going on outside of WWE for once that I actually was tuned in for. We want to get into it all. So we'll take this quick break and we'll be right back.
I think altogether, all of the women need more visibility on TV besides like the 10 minutes out of 3 hours that they get. But that's what it is. I think we just need to see more of that development on TV for us to even care, because without social media, that's how the WWE universe got behind Dana Brooke, in my opinion, is social media, because we can see how bad she wants this. We can see how hard she works, how dedicated she is, and how passionate she is. And we want to root for that underdog. We want to be like, oh my God, look at Dana Brooke actually like getting somewhere. Like, oh shit, she beat out Ruby Riott, Lana to be in Money in the Bank. Like, that's a big deal. But
I mean,
Lana,
not so much, but yeah,
but she's way more popular than a Dana Brooke. True. And for Dana Brooke to actually get that spot and got a high spot in the match, I think is great. But it's like, what is WWE gonna do with that? Like, that's always the sad question.
How about last night?
Yo, so I was sleep. Well, like half sleep, and I was like watching NXT, and I was like, "Is that Dana Brooke?" And I loved it because we just talked about that. We just were like, yo, Dana Brooke needs a chance. That spotlight was back in 2019. And I think her going back to NXT was exactly what she needed. She looked like a star. She had the superstar entrance. People were excited to see her. It was great.
Yeah, it was everything. And then, being amongst the final contestants in the battle royal, which I thought was amazing. I love that battle royal. From a psychology standpoint, just watching every time like somebody would get thrown over the ropes and they hold on to it, like just kick them, right? And that's what the ladies was doing. Like, you just kick their hands, your hands, like, it sounds so simple, but it's the truth. Like, you watch how many Royal Rumbles we watch and everybody try to do the Shawn Michaels spot, like, after a while, like, okay, it gets old, or somebody catch them and then they like holding on. It's like, no, just throw them over. You clearly get overpowered. So I thought that the way these ladies went out there and performed, it was so much fun to watch. And shout out to Dana Brooke and shout out to Thea for winning it.
That was crazy that people won that, but I loved it. Y'all know I'm a stan. I love that girl. Like, she's the cup of coffee you need in the morning. Like, and then it's funny how it switches into the angle of her like not being good enough. They were calling her out on her matches, and then you end up with it was just full circle moment storytelling all around the board. I loved it.
See, y'all were concentrating on the match. I was sitting there like Dylan said it and Vaughn said it. So I was like, wait a minute, because this can't be coincidence. I had to put this in the group chat. Like, we just talked about this on Dana Brooke Appreciation Night, which you can catch on the replay of Those Wrestling Girls channel. We were talking about this. Like, yo, going back to NXT is not a bad thing. Case in point, look at what it did for Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose was doing nothing on the main roster. Goes back to the NXT, becomes NXT Women's Champion, has one of the longest reigns in NXT Women's history. I think she's third longest or second longest title reign behind Asuka before she eventually relinquishes. And it got to a point where we weren't really caring about what Mandy was doing till we were arguing why she wasn't top 10 in the PWI 150. And then with Dana, we were like, yo, look what it did for her. Look what it did for Apollo. It refreshed Apollo. Look what Mustafa Ali's doing back down there. It gives you something to do.
Jinder Mahal went down there for a little hot second. Oh my God, remember when Kevin Owens did his little for War Games?
Yep. Yeah.
Bingo.
Like, I think it's always fun, like, to mix it up that way. And with the draft, I hated the free agent thing. But if that means that free agents can go to NXT and elevate, everyone gets elevated when main roster stars go to NXT. Like, there's no lose. You know what I mean? Like, look on USA. It's not like it. You know what I mean? It's not a demotion like everybody tries to make it seem.
It's not a loss anymore. It's more of like, okay, let's put this on the resume too. Like, if I got a condition, let me go back to school. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's not looked down upon anymore. And that's what I like. Like, even if we're to talk about outside the women for a bit, like Corbin, I thought he put on one of his best matches against Trick Williams. Last that match was good. And then it's like, imagine an Ali versus Wesley match.
I want this. Who do I got to talk to? Sean?
Took the word
and like Justin's first WrestleMania. Ali and
Cedric Alexander for the cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a but
I'm telling you,
I knew that though, because I watched Cedric and Ali go at it before, and I was like, yo, if they give us this at Mania, we're gonna about to be spoiled. And they went above and beyond, where I was like, yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker called him out. Where y'all want to see the match happen, on Raw or NXT?
Braun got too much dip on his chip. Let's start
I
there.
don't think the world champion needs to be coming to NXT.
Really?
I don't know why.
That's the one occasion where it's like,
okay, bring it back. Y'all being a little too trigger happy. Y'all being a little too trigger happy with it. Like, you just got this title. Let's not put it back in daycare.
Most fickle ass wrestling.
No, but here's the thing, like,
not in this case, but in that case.
Like, you know what it is? It's because it's Seth Rollins. Like, you don't take the pinnacle on the top of the cake and then put it on the side of the cake. Like, you don't do that. Like, we think that Seth Rollins, we adore Seth Rollins too much, and I think that's what it is. Like, we started to protect Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins is proven, like, you want me to go here? You want me to fight this person? All right, I'll whoop their ass. I'll whoop your ass. I'll laugh at your ass. Like, he's pretty much made himself the most well-rounded sports entertainer there is in WWE. And if Braun Baker wants to go in there too, if Brown Breaker wants to seriously go catch the ass from Seth freaking Rollins, go ahead, bro, do it.
But now here's the thing though. I could see Seth going there just because I could see him defending the championship against somebody else on Monday. And after all, who was the first NXT champion? So I could see that full circle moment and him coming down there and saying, look, y'all wouldn't even be eating if it wasn't for me. This would just be a performance center. So I could see it that way. That's the way I see it.
I would love that.
Here's my counter argument. I'm going to give you two. Number one, would Roman go back down there and defend either of his titles?
But Roman wasn't NXT. Like, he was down there, but not what Steph was. But I see what you're saying.
I hear you on that. And then the second reason, Braun, how about win a match? Because last I checked, you lost your last two NXT TakeOver matches. So how about
you coming for Tan Daddy Breaker?
So when I say you got too much dip on your chip, how about win a match first? That way you actually have a reason to challenge for said title versus you can't hop the line and be like, well, what are your credentials? Well,
no, you're right, because
used to be. Boom.
Word. All he did before his dream match was he was like, I'm gonna spear you, I'm gonna spear you, I'm gonna spear you, I'm gonna spear you, you get a spear, you get a spear. I'm gonna edge your ass. I'm gonna get a spear left and right and hook and center like you a tool from the tool chest. Like, bro, can you have a match? Like, what are you doing? Like going into people's lot. But you know what though? Give it credit. And people can blame this on the fan club too. I was the one who told you he was giving vanilla. He wasn't even giving Napoleon, and now he's sitting here giving you marble swirl. He's giving you brownie. He's giving you brownie swirl with this tan line and going to people's barbershops and stuff. And now he's entertaining, but it's like, yeah, bro, like when are you gonna?
No, I felt a certain type way about going in that barbershop.
Brownie swirl.
That's what I'm saying, but that's heel work though. Keep saying some of that heel work. Walking in somebody's barbershop.
He got the wife beater with the Dominican cut, with the Dominican fade. He like, yo, I hear Poppy.
No, you have to understand. Like,
go sit in the corner, Justin.
Out of all the things that happened on Twitter today, I'm glad I wasn't alone. I wish Josh would enter the chat because Josh got it. Josh was like, he needs to wow. He wasn't this brown last week, and I'm like, I've been trying to tell y'all, the man has been copping 2-for-1 specials at the booth because ain't no way, bro. Like you wasn't the same color. You was discolored. You were marble. Now you full blown like moose tracks. Come on, bro. Yo, now, I don't know whether it's that.
Odyssey Jones, like he owed him money.
Right? Like, come on, like.
He was really.
But listen, the heel work's doing what it's supposed to do because now I'm seeing people mad. He ain't vanilla no more, like I said. But he still needs to win a match.
So I wanna get into some of our favorite moments.
That was our favorite moment, apparently.
On the NXT thread. So we put the tweet out. It's June 1st. What have been your favorite wrestling moments so far? And the tweet got like a million or something views. So we got a lot of tweets about it. So we kind of rounded out some of the, popular ones. But I do want to give NXT some shine because I do think they've really been bringing it. And I think they're doing a really good job of sort of like revitalizing after the draft kind of like stole all their stars. What have been some of your favorite NXT moments of the year so far?
Ooh, I got one.
Go ahead.
Dijak and Dragunov. I know this just happened on the recent takeover, but when I say big meaty men slapping meat and people choosing violence, like Dijak came to the ring and told his fame, like, yeah, get out of here. You don't want to see what I'm about to do to this man. And from start to end, they beat the absolute fuck out of each other to where I was just like, so this is, we letting this rock? Okay. But that's something you don't get on the main roster where it's like, they really beat the shit out of each other.
They really did.
And it's something that really caught my attention to where, like, now in a Dragunov match, Dragunov is just going to choose violence 10 out of 10. But Dijak is someone that's like, people don't really take into account, like, this dude's like 6'5", 6'6", like Randy Orton size, but moves like Randy Orton. And he's very fluid to where, like, he can wrestle smaller guys, he can wrestle bigger guys, but he can also do matches like this. And that was one that really stuck out to where it's like, the best decision NXT did this year was go back outside for their takeovers. And this is the benefit of what happens when you go back outside for those takeovers. Because this match, they had that Boston crowd from start to end, dude.
Yeah.
Man, look. Mellow.
I didn't want
is
to
money.
say it, but yeah. I didn't
Mellow
want
is
to
money.
say it, but yeah.
I mean, the Staples Center, now known as the Crypto.com Arena, becoming champion. And I'm gonna be biased a little bit because having, we saw him at Wale Mania 2 nights before. And I got a chance to rap to him, brought up a memory from last year's Wale Mania when actually me, him, and Queen PR all had on the Jordans. And I brought it up. He said, "Yo, I remember that." And you expect wrestlers to remember stuff, and because they come across so many people. He's like, "Yo, I remember us taking the shoe pick," and I saw how focused he was. Now, if y'all know, Wale Mania is full of chaos. It's so much fun, but he was like locked in. And most of the other wrestlers, they was enjoying themselves, but he like that's somebody, as they say, like with football and basketball. A general manager will sleep at night knowing this person is the face of their company. That's how Carmelo Hayes looked. And then, the masked man talked to him, and just to hear him locked in and tell the good Shawn Michaels stories and to cap it off with the win at NXT TakeOver. I know he's a Celtics fan, but with the Kobe get up, the colors, paying homage to Kobe in the house that Kobe built, man, that was my favorite NXT moment.
That was a magical moment. I would say that was my favorite NXT moment. I have to take it to the storytelling with the breakup of Mandy Rose's little faction. That was the most like emotionally invested I was in an NXT storyline, probably in it was good. Like having Bailey come on and host a little, and it just took you on this like roller coaster, like where you didn't know what was gonna happen, who was gonna turn on who, and then you thought you knew how it was gonna happen, and then it really hit you. And I think they've done a really good job of kind of feeding it, and how the feud ended up going. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that was fun.
Yeah, you took it back with that one because, woo. Wasn't
that good? Homegirl got kicked in the face.
Yo, not only did
she
get kicked in the face.
Yeah, she
got
did.
smashed. And
she got kicked like she owed money.
Yo, Dylan.
Like she gave Stewie treatment right there. Like, let's be real. She was like, "Oh, you don't got my. Oh, you ain't got my money. Like you ain't got my money. I told you about 5 o'clock, didn't I, sis? I want to buy 5 tomorrow. Like, listen."
I love the toxic breakup. That's good.
I know Shawn Michaels is back there like, good job. You make me so proud. Sitting there back here crying. I know he was back there in tears like, I feel like a proud papa.
Like, it reminds me of 1991. Picture it.
Hello.
What
and that hurt worse. Because she actually ate that. Marty Jannetty flew through sugar glass. Let's be real. Honey. She actually
took a fucking foot to the face.
Look at the face.
Look at her. Yeah, man.
Son. You could tell they went to work on this feud, and that's what made it worth it.
That.
Like even that cage match, child, that cage match between them, I'm like, that was better than the first match they had against one another. And the second, like, they whooped each other's asses. They said, "Listen, this is gonna go nowhere. Whoop your ass. You gonna whoop my ass. We're gonna be done with this." But I feel like we ain't gonna be done with this. It's gonna be one of those feuds that just last.
I think so too, and I think about where you can always pick it up. You could pick it up eventually when they go to the main roster. There's Royal Rumble stories. There's so many different things that they can do with that. And I love when the women do something that's even like reminiscent of like a legendary thing that the men did, because Twitter just kind of erupts from like people giving them their props to like people refusing to give them their props. Comparing it to the barbershop moment. And I like that they kind of like lived up to that, and it like had Marty Jannetty trending, like definitely from the fan club, because when we talked about it,
that man,
they
gonna trigger that man the day he go. Yo, Dylan,
his dark side of the ring.
Dylan.
Dylan chose violence.
No, but y'all just reigniting that man's triggers with that whole segment. He ain't lying though. He's not lying though. He's not lying though.
It's
not lying.
Naughty man.
My moment would have to finally see Indy Hartwell get the recognition, the flowers she deserves by winning that ladder
That
match.
was
Because the
nice.
moment I was like, because you know it was funny, a lot of people were not expecting to win. Like I remember people were in the comments. There was like a few of us that were like, "No, it's Indy Hartwell's night. Like, there's no way. She's a vet. She's literally the female Johnny Gargano, in my opinion, of that whole entire franchise. She lived so many of those women. Like, she helped lift Mandy Rose up. You know what I mean? So it was just like, if she does not win this, I'm gonna think this is a legitimate issue with how they see her. And when I watch, like, even how it happened, when you watch like her husband come back and he's just like there, and I'm like, this guy, he's gonna help her win. I said, she's up there, she's getting up there. I'm like, she won, and I was just like slight tear in my eye. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she actually won. Like, finally, like, this is somebody that you could see in the locker room. Everybody was just genuinely happy to watch her win. And I was happy because I'm like, like, she's talented, she's well-rounded, she's been around for a long time. And then look at where it got her now. Now she's like on the main roster, reunited with her weird husband, you know, doing her thing with her friends. I can't wait to see where her career goes. But it just like put her in the put respect on her name, like good Mandy Rose would say. And that's exactly what it did. It was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I really appreciated that. So I think we should get into the bloodline real quick because I feel like it's layered and we can just get that out of the way. So we can even start with the beginning of the year because I was at Royal Rumble and we heard the reaction. Brian and I were in the press conference. And it, you know, the pay-per-view went over a little bit, so you just hear everyone, like everyone's watching on their phones or whatever, and you hear everyone gasp like in like succession because everybody was, you know, listening at different times. And it was when Sammy turned on Roman, and it was insane. Like you just felt that whole thing. And obviously it's evolved and it's been so many things, Mania, all that kind of stuff. The bloodline like held 2023 on his back so far. Like
the passions of the bloodline.
Facts.
It's not coming to an end no time soon.
Nope.
People keep saying that.
If anything, it's just this was the prequel of what's to come. What happened this last pay-per-view is definitely like the middle point because it has to evolve. Like it had like Vaughn, I'm done with you. Side chick Sammy, I'm done with you. You another one choosing violence tonight, I see. Anyways, but two things I learned in that situation. One, Roman needs to stop turning his back. Stop turning around, brother.
Clearly.
Stop doing it. Stop turning your back around. Listen, he has to have PTSD from all the times he has his back turned. The chair just starts colliding with his back. Because remember the last time before that, he had a chair to the back. Who did it? Hello?
So shout out to my sister the other day. She was doing my hair. So before Royal Rumble, I think it was, or before WrestleMania, when she was doing it, we watched the Bloodline story, the playlist. And y'all know how our group chat, like, yo, they just uploaded another one and we dropped the link and so I said, nah, you got to pick up from where you left off because this didn't evolve.
Oh, yeah.
And P, I think you brought up the chair and him turning his back. I forgot he did it again at Elimination Chamber. But
that's why I said
Jay would not hit him. He just wouldn't. And you know, just had this whole story. And you know, when people say like, "Oh, it's getting stale," I'm like, "Are you crazy?" And the thing
who
is,
said that?
Oh, there are people that have been saying that.
And here's the thing, right? There's so many of them. So like, let's just say Solo and Jay and Jimmy come together and Roman could just make a phone call, bring in Jacob Fatu, he could bring in Lance Hawaii, he could bring in Rikishi's other sons, and he can call on the elders daughter, can send more people. And
because the daughter's wrestling.
Yeah, and you know, there was this thing like, okay, well, the bloodline, you know, now the belt, nobody's worried about trying to challenge Roman. That's the point though. Because he said he uses that to feed the family. And right now, that's the most important thing is feeding the family. And people like, look, we can't get involved in their business because they don't know what's going to happen because Roman looks like Roman's supposed to be chilling right now. Because if the Usos would have just took care of business at WrestleMania, they'd be all chilling. But nope, they lost, so now he got to whoop them.
And it's like a wise man once said, like, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers back up that the blood. This is the reason why we call it the Bold, the Beautiful, and the Bloodline. Because this has been the best telenovela in wrestling, in recent wrestling memory, in arguably wrestling history. Like, the numbers back it up. People are fucking watching this. People are pulling up to live shows, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, all that shit to go watch this. Roman still gets nuclear reactions when he comes out, when he says, acknowledge me. Y'all throw them fucking ones up and acknowledge that damn man. WrestleMania, even though that was a split crowd, people were fucking happy Roman walked out. Oh, yeah. And still, we were getting these Cody jokes off for good reason. And the shit ain't slowing down because you had this question last year. It was like, can they keep it up? And you know what they did? They inserted Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn became Sami Uso. And then they inserted Solo Sikoa with his solo fitness. And then the entire beginning of this year was the fallout with Sami and the Bloodline. You're seeing it now where we're at, where we're having the fallout of one Uso, maybe two Usos. I don't know. We shall see. This can easily go to WrestleMania. We laid out a blueprint on Fan Club basically saying, like, he only has to defend it a couple times. You have matches with Seth Rollins sitting right there. You have a match with Xavier Woods sitting right there. You have anyone that can challenge on SmackDown if they actually work their ass up and build them up. You can always do Survivor Series. You know what? Roman's a little bored. Go face Gunther.
Bro.
Let's have a slap off. Pause.
When I tell you,
he gotta get the family in order.
Gotta get the family in order before you do all that.
Get the house straight, and then he could go on to different things. That would be a really good match, though. I would be totally into that. You had put the graphic up earlier, Brian. This year's Royal Rumble winner, Rhea Ripley. Yeah. So my sister, shout out to Letty, had an interesting opinion, and she does not like, or she doesn't feel Rhea as champion. She's just like, I can't wait for her to drop it. It's not hitting for me. But this was kind of Rhea Ripley's year. It started out with her winning Royal Rumble, which I think everybody saw coming, record breaking. I think she started at 1, if I'm not mistaken, and ended up winning it. And then she had that classic match with Charlotte,
but she basically went post to post.
Oh, got you. Thank you, Justin. How are you guys feeling about Rhea Ripley's, her 2023 so far? Yeah, feeling her as champion. What's some of your favorite Rhea moments this year?
You talk about the growth of a year. Like, you think back to when Rhea won that title at WrestleMania 37 against Asuka, and we were like, yo, this ain't it. This feels forced. You could have let this bubble. I know a lot of things went into that match as far as like the Charlotte Flair stuff, the Lacey Evans stuff and whatnot. But you see her now going into that Rumble and it looked like she was fucking ready. And if this wasn't Rhea's moment, it was never going to happen for her. And you see the evolution of her character when she joins the Judgment Day. They get Edge out of here, they add Finn Balor, and then she makes that group her own to where she's basically the front man of that group. That group basically backs her up. Dominic watches her back and not the other way around. So for her to go into that Rumble from the number 2 spot, go post to post and dominate, not just win the Rumble, she fucking dominates that Rumble to become number 1 contender. And then she goes into WrestleMania against the Queen, against arguably one of the best to ever do it. On some people's list, the GOAT. And she whoops her ass in a very physical, hard-hitting WrestleMania match, arguably one of the best women's matches of all time. Definitely one of the best women's WrestleMania matches. And establishes her dominance. And ever since she's had that title, she's been the dominant champion for a reason. She's stacking women. She's doing Mount Rhea and bringing it back to where not only am I going to pin you, I'm going to stack you. I'm going to set an example. And she's just on a tear where it's like, we've never seen her this good. Even when you go back to NXT when she won that title, it never hit to like this level where like she's over. And by proxy, the Judgment Day is over. Dominic's his own entity, but this has been Rhea's fucking year. It's undeniable.
That's the cool thing, too, about Judgment Day is that, Rhea can stand out on her own. Dom obviously has, I think, the most heat of anyone in wrestling right now. And then Finn Balor is Finn Balor, and then Damian Priest, in my opinion, has really been proving himself as well, and will definitely save the Backlash conversation because I think that was absolutely a highlight of 2023, and I can say that, and we still have 6 more months, and I can confidently say that Backlash will still be one of the like top 3 PLEs wrestling shows of the year. But I think this is definitely Rhea Ripley's year. Her match with Charlotte, let's get into it. You said it might be one of the greatest women's matches of all time. I think it's definitely one of the best women's matches at WrestleMania, for sure.
The lady's been cooking. Ever since it seemed like Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte raised the bar, but maybe everybody wasn't ready for it, right? 2 years later, Charlotte and Asuka, without a doubt stole the show. But now there's been this streak. If you go back to WrestleMania 37 with Sasha and Bianca, where every single women's match every show has had a women's match that's did its thing, right? Last year you got Becky and Bianca. Then you also got the tag match. But then this year, I think, you can make say what you want about the 6 women's tag match, but the other ones, they cooked, and to see Charlotte and Rhea do their thing, and it was like, to me, that match was different. It was like, I've never seen a women's wrestling match like that. Like the other ones, it felt like, okay, it was a dance, it was fun, it was great chemistry. That looked like a legit fight. And every time, and I'm talking like looking at the facial expressions that Rhea was giving, and it was like Charlotte was like, okay, haha, oh shoot, like no matter what Charlotte did, it just wasn't enough, and you see it on her face, like, yo, this is not the same woman I wrestled at WrestleMania 36, and that's the beauty of the evolution of this.
And I know we're talking about Rhea Ripley, but I want to go to Charlotte real quick and just how she's reinvented herself this year. She came back and became a babyface. I don't remember the last time we felt that way about Charlotte. I think the common consensus, the respect is there, the praise is there, but it's one of those like, oh, Charlotte's back. She came back, won the championship on the same night, but we were like okay with that. And she had a new look, she had a new music, and we needed her to take that championship from Ronda Rousey. And she was different in this WrestleMania. She was selling more, and you can tell that she had a respect for Rhea, and they put on a 5-star match, in my opinion.
Banger.
I miss Charlotte. I miss Charlotte. What are some of your...
do too, because he's not going to work. He's staying home. I don't blame him.
They on the beach somewhere. Him and his mama.
I'm in Mexico with mommy. Why am I trying to go back to work? Mud PTO, use it.
I'm about to use that. I want to talk about entrances really quickly because we're talking about matches, but we're also talking about moments because we love moments. We talked a lot about the WrestleMania ones on our WrestleMania recap, but I want to go to AEW really quickly because I think this is one of the first times where I was like genuinely impressed with that big entrance moment because that's associated with like WWE, that grand entrance. But she killed this. I loved everything about it. I love that she represented her sorority and this song and all the dancers. It was amazing.
Absolutely. Jade Cargill is a star. We've been saying that. And I know a lot of people like to talk about her wrestling, her collar and elbow. But, I don't know if y'all saw the pictures somebody posted on Twitter the other day, but it was photos of people in the Performance Center. And there was a picture of Jade. It's like their workout, their trials when they were the property of WWE and all that stuff. And, obviously I'm not in the business to be like, oh yeah, that's a star. This is a star. Like I know my lane. I could usually walk into school and be like, but I was sitting there and I'm like, it was her, Penelope Ford, and a couple other people that's in AEW, and they didn't have that larger than life presentation, or they didn't have none of that yet. And regardless of when Jade Cargill made her debut on AEW, she was a head turner, and she remained a head turner. And again, it means more to go on pop culture television, to be able to go to stuff like The Breakfast Club and go on Hot 97, go on TV. Oh, by the way, she's also a owner of a softball team, professional softball team. Like all the stuff that she does, she is just out there printing money. And to the point, we just talked about one of the GOATs, Charlotte Flair, wants to work with her. So
imagine that.
And look,
money.
Think about this. Let's take you back to 1999. Let's just say this how it went down. Let's say Undertaker was sitting at home and he saw the Big Show, or let's just say the Giant. And he said, "Nah, bring him here. He's green. I can work with him." And y'all remember, you heard him tell the story about how when they was teaming up, he was yelling at him to the point Big Show had to go to OVW just to get skilled. You don't think that there's ladies there seeing, you know what? She gets it. We can make money with her. We could probably clean up the wrestling a little bit, but we can tell great stories. At the end of the day, by 5 years from now, Jade Cargill will be at WrestleMania.
Wow. Okay. Everybody remember that Brain Agewater said that. That's a big statement. But also 5 years is a long time in wrestling.
It is.
A lot can happen in 5 years. Like we're talking about everything that has happened in the last 6 months.
I should say within, but you know what I mean.
I know what you
I
mean.
was gonna say within, like within is the right word to use. There we go. But go ahead.
5 years. No, I do see that happening. And I do see her working with Charlotte. Like I can see it, and I think she's growing, and she's gonna be a bigger star in WWE. I hate to say it.
She's fit for WWE style.
She's
really fit for it.
And literally took the words out of my mouth. She's more fit there than when she is now. And I hate to say it that way. I feel like this was a good little test run. I feel like that test run is going to run its course. And that's why I say within, because you can only stretch the bar. Some people are people that can only say, I'm doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G here. All right, what's next? And if it's outside of here for it to be next, I'm going to go there. And I just see that in Jade. I don't see that in everybody. You know who else I see it in? I see it in Bryan Danielson. I see it in like Kenny Omega's. I see it in all the people that can literally be like, all right, well, if I'm not needed here, I can go somewhere else. I'm good with that. Like, put me in, coach. You know what I mean? I just get that attitude from her. So where it's like, yeah, even if it's not here, I could see her going somewhere else with no qualm, no problem.
Oh yeah, I think she do like one more year and some change there with the world title, hopefully, and have more competitive matches like she's been having the last like couple months. I can totally see her coming to WWE and being a top superstar for sure. So I see a lot of people in the comments. Shout out to everybody in the fan club: Mike, Vaughn, Rakarsha, Dylan, Dre. About Mercedes Mone. So I'm rocking her shirt. So I feel like it's good to bring her up.
You got a shirt of the GOAT?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh shit, money.
But when I was thinking today about my favorite 2023 moments, the first thing that came to my head is everything involving Mercedes and Trinity. Because for me, it was a like growth for me to be happy to see them prosper outside of WWE, just because that's my main promotion. But seeing Mercedes glow, look at this moment, her winning the IWGP Women's Champion. Shout out to Justin. We stayed up and we watched this, her match against Kairi Sane, and it delivered. This is definitely one of my favorite moments so far this year.
Yeah, buddy. That, man, listen. To be able to see her happy. That's the thing. We love seeing our favorite wrestlers, but we love seeing them happy and doing what they want to do. Yeah. And I thought, just to see how she's just like the freedom when she's going out there talking shit everywhere she goes, like all the promos. And she has you hooked on social media, whether it's, it's on Instagram, you in her stories, and get well soon. can't wait to have you back,
Yeah,
but
get
also
well
can't wait to
soon,
see what she gonna
Mercedes.
do. You know, she'll be
Right.
talking about maybe I'll live in Japan, and you know, she keeps saying like when you got the bag, you can do whatever. So
Right.
I'm a fan.
And I just got to give it up to her as well because she started a CBD brand. She's in movies again. She's been doing the convention circuit. She's been doing appearances, and she's a free agent. So she's basically getting these probably amazing checks to have this freedom to be able to do. I don't think I've ever seen her as relaxed and having fun as much as she is now. And I think it's the same with Trinity. She was on the Sherry Shepherd show today. And it just watching her on that show, like I felt like a proud mom because you just see that glow in her. She's able to that freedom that it looks like that she has to just like talk about whatever she wants to talk about, get to know who Trinity Fatu is. You know, seeing Sherry Shepherd doing the glow entrance and the slide and all of that, it was
That
beautiful.
was too
That
cute.
was cute.
That was too cute. And you look at the video from her YouTube channel where she's just like talking about her debut and how excited she looked and how like nervous she worked and her having her family, kind of like her family, her village rally around her. It was just like an awe-inspiring moment. Like last night, Steph actually asked me how I felt about the moment. And I was just like, it was one of those times where I can feel like, even for both women, it was a very relatable thing because like it's unfortunate to say that African American or women of color or women of culture go through this on a daily basis. Like we speak up and we're either they were basically told to shut up and wrestle and they didn't accept it. So then they took that hiatus, and then for them to come back in the beginning of the year and go, well, this is how it's going to go down, and you either with it or you're not. But if you with it, come for the ride. If you're not, I hope you jump on after the first roller coaster goes up in the air. And it was just happy to see them finally look and feel as happy as they deserve to feel.
Yeah.
And if I could piggyback on this real quick, like it's a full circle moment for both of them because if you look at this time last year, this is when all the shit went down with them. Where it's like we don't know what's going on with them. We know they're definitely suspended. We're relinquishing the tag team titles and we're gonna throw those in flux. And then they went military silent for like months and months and months, and just a guessing game of like, are they gonna wrestle again? Are they gonna stay in WWE? Are they gonna leave? We're hearing rumors and stuff like that. And then you go into the beginning of this year where you have Mercedes pulling up to Wrestle Kingdom. That's the first time you ever had a women's match on Wrestle Kingdom ever. And then you have Mercedes make her big debut at Wrestle Kingdom when everyone's watching New Japan and whatnot. And then P put the graphic up of like her match at Battle in the Valley. That's the first time she wrestled in over 9 months. This is a highly anticipated match where not only are you the co-main of this pay-per-view, you and Kyrie basically sold this shit out in like minutes. And you're the co-main, and we're throwing this newly minted IWGP Women's Championship on the line. And then you also have her family in the crowd. You have Bayley in the crowd. You have Tamina in the crowd, Trinity in the crowd and whatnot. And for her to win the title, and then her to basically go to these other promotions to go pull up at Sakura Genesis and defend the IWGP title, to go to Stardom and defend that title. Right. And then the pay-per-view you just had there in Long Beach recently, Resurgence, where she's wrestling Willow Nightingale in the finals for that New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong title. And then for Trinity to bring that around to where you see her pop up at Impact, and that we talked about this on Fan Club, how deep that women's division is, that history of that Knockouts division. And to have them to go from like this time last year, we didn't know what the hell was going to happen with them. They were at their lowest. They bet on themselves. They walked out of WWE. And you see Mercedes is happy going around the world, wrestling the style that she's always wanted to wrestle. You see Trinity happy at Impact, looks right at home. And then you go to today's interview with Sherry Shepherd where Trinity was like, yo, that's my sister, and that's just not because of what we went through. Like, we ride for each other. You see Mercedes pull up to Trinity stuff. You see Trinity go to Japan to go support Mercedes. And that's just love. That's just like,
that's family.
Bigger than wrestling.
That's like that on, and that's on Dominic Toretto. That's family.
That is family.
I'm telling you, like, you know what I noticed from the both of them?
What's that?
They're natural. They're their authentic selves. Like both of them became their most authentic selves. Like Trinity right now is her most authentic self. Like you're it's not just now, like you got bits and pieces of Trinity when you were watching Naomi. No doubt about it. She glows wherever she goes. But just like now, like even when you feel her debut, like the authenticity of someone who loves this business and wants to keep going.
Yeah.
Which with Mercedes, you got the Mercedes, like I talked about the indie circuit, you got the Mercedes that used to wrestle in Boston in front of like small crowds, just doing what she loves. Like it's all authenticity, and that's all these women wanted at the end of the day, was to take that tag team championship and be themselves and have a creative mind and make it as relevant, as important as any other title. And because they saw it wasn't going to happen with them, they were like, all right, well, where else can I be me and be authentic and do what I love at the same time? And they both found their avenues, but they continue to support each other, even if it's and it's funny because say what you want about CM Punk, but the fact that he's the only one that has pictures of them in wigs supporting each other, like it shows like wherever you support people, like you gotta be there for your village, you gotta show allyship, and it's just like important.
It is. And I think that's one of the most important things that was sort of like revealed in this whole thing, their walkout, is that sisterhood between them. Like it's so important. A lot of times you see like you leave WWE and then it's kind of like, you know, oh, we're not supposed to be friends. And the fact that like they flew out to Japan to support Mercedes, and Mercedes snuck into Impact to support Trinity's debut, and that seeing that I think is so inspiring for little girls.
That and the fact that you notice they did not take away from each other's moment. Like no one took away from anything. Like even Bailey being there, it wasn't they all made sure that it was about that person, and it wasn't about them being there. Like come on, who wears a lime green wig and stands back in the back curtain when they could have literally been like, let me show you to your front row chair, let's watch this match together. Like they were like, no, we're gonna be back here in this ashy ass curtain watching our friend in these ashy ass wigs, because we're here for her. And that's important.
Yo,
not thing, ashy ass wigs.
Listen, y'all know how I feel about wigs.
Yo,
that's a sound drop.
And like you were about to say, I feel like you're about to say about like it is inspirational for young girls everywhere.
It is to see these like Black women supporting each other no matter what. They bet on themselves. They supported each other doing that. They weren't in competition with each other. Like a lot of people wanted that to be the case. They kept comparing their star power and who could really walk away from WWE and all that kind of stuff. And they both, like you said, they found their lane. They're happy. They're doing what they love to do. They have freedom to explore their different talents. So I'm really happy for them. I want to move on to Willow Nightingale really quickly. What's up?
I just wanted to add one more thing that we talk about, like people being pinned against each other. One of my favorite moments is that Wale Mania, seeing Trinity and Jade get along, because that was like the biggest thing. People were trying to pin them against each other for months. And then they're like, Wale Mania, and they're like, girl, you look good. Girl, you look good too. Girl, let's take this picture. Come on, girl. Like, come on. Like, enough internet wrestling community. They're not against each other. They're actually cool with each other. Everybody's for everybody. The fact that Bianca can talk about Jade in a nice light and Jade can talk about Bianca in a nice light, and I'd be like, listen, they're in their own lane. I think they're this, that, and they speak each other up. This is what we actually do. We don't catfight backstage. So just remember that.
Yeah, it's like we couldn't get that picture when they Jade and Bianca was at the NASCAR event. And like I remember one of my boys, he texted me, he was like, yo, and I said, yeah, I said, you know, they couldn't do it or whatever reason. And, you know, it's this old
they
school.
They did it at the Hawks game because they blew up social media that night when they played in Atlanta.
That was amazing. That was amazing. But yeah, I'm so sick of the whole like pinning women against each other. Like it's so old, it's so tired.
It's stupid.
And I think that's why seeing Jade and Naomi support each other, and Sasha, Naomi, Mercedes, and Trinity support each other.
And let's get it real to a fact. This is the men that's being more petty than the women. Because
I was just gonna say that it shows there's more unity backstage between the women than there are in the men. The men are I don't know who I was talking to, but men are way more petty in the wrestling business than the women nowadays, because I feel like for the most part the women want better opportunities for everyone. Like
that's all we care about.
if this women's match gets more time, and every women's match is hopefully going to get more time, like that's how that should be. And I think this does more for the forbidden door, which I fucking hate that phrase. We're officially putting that in the box. I cannot hear it again.
Yeah, we're
It's
done.
the whole
Box.
show named after.
Nope.
But
We can't talk about the show.
Pete,
we'll
you know what
talk
We'll
about
call
the
it
show
FB.
in that context,
There
and
we
that's
go.
it. But
you know what it is though, P, right? Because now you're not just seeing women on the equal playing field. Now you're seeing women be like, yo, I can do what you do better. You see Becky
Right.
Lynch main event WrestleMania with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. You see Sasha and Bianca break the internet main eventing WrestleMania. You see Mercedes go to New Japan, and now people are pulling up. How do I do New Japan World? How do I figure this out? You see Trinity go to Impact. Okay, so where's Access TV? How do I figure this out? When are their pay-per-views and shit like that? Not only are they bringing fans, but they're drawing, and they're showing like, yo, I can main event this shit and show you how to do this better than you can. And a lot of guys get threatened about that because, you know, I want to be the spotlight. I want to be the moneymaker. I want to be the reason why this company's thriving. And over the last 5-6 years, even though we've had our stumbles, you're seeing more and more that the women have shown like, yo, we can do this shit and do better.
All we ask, all they ask, is that you put us in the ring for more than 5 minutes and you will get a lifetime's worth of content. And that's it. Ain't nothing more, ain't nothing less. Like remember, they were whining about t-shirts. Why would they whine about t-shirts? How can somebody be a fan, and how can you get that support if they don't even have your merch to wear? Think about that. Like, all we ask is that you stop putting us in the ring to for people to go pee. That's all we ask for. Nothing more, nothing less.
Just give us the same opportunities.
Right. And then you see all these women get in the ring and they give you like, nah, shit, now I don't want to get up and go to the bathroom because this match gonna be lit.
And I'm glad that they're doing that. I surprisingly really enjoy AEW All Access, their reality show, because I got to know a lot of the women on that show, like Britt Baker, and just how much they do care about the women's division. Because you know, according to wrestling Twitter and what I kind of see from AEW when I watch it, the women don't get a lot of time. And they don't have a lot of that continuity with storylines. I think recently, maybe because of, you know, what Saraya and all of them are doing. But All Access showed me that like Britt Baker is constantly advocating for more. You know, Tay Mello, you know, what she brings to the table and everything that they hope for and what they bring to the ring every time they do get the opportunity. So just seeing women in general across the business are now, they're stars now. Now they don't have to be like, oh my God, it's the women's evolution. They're important now. Like now, yes, they are. We have stars. Like look at everyone that came up in the draft and how good they've been doing. That's been exciting this year for sure. Chelsea Green. I don't think anyone expected her to kind of come back to WWE and be as impactful as she's been.
Not like this. Like, to be real, you know, and to borrow a line from Queen PR, everybody doesn't need the championship. Everybody doesn't need the title. Everybody doesn't need to be world champion. And Chelsea Green has figured it out. Not saying she'll never get there, but she's not like, it's not like, okay, we can't, you put you in the world championship picture, so we're not gonna do nothing for you or do nothing with you. Like the stuff that she's doing, her and Sonya Deville, was kind of hoping they won the tag titles, but I'm honestly glad the two ladies that have them. I believe one of them is in the box, so I won't say neither is his name. But I'm happy that they have the championships. But I do think there will be something. I think they Chelsea and Sonya just gonna wreak havoc for a while, and it's gonna be so much fun watching it.
Yeah.
What do we ask for? Secondary storylines that don't involve titles.
That means something. You know, ones that mean something. I do want to thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. We do have an episode with Chelsea Green where we interview her a couple months after she was released, and she dropped some gems in there. I think I might actually air that for TWG Classic. Thank you, Mike. You actually gave me a good idea. We talked to her, and she is very much a WWE superstar. Like if you think about it, she takes acting classes, and some of her pitches were kind of like outlandish and like wild. But if you think about it, that's kind of the crazy ideas that need to be like thrown out there to get filtered out for some good ideas. And Chelsea Green does character work very well. She came in and made an impact. Wait, she loves the tea, Dylan. Spill the tea. Spill the tea.
Yeah,
I
what do
think
you know, Dylan?
she right. I'm like, she did toe the line, like where she could have did the typical bash WWE after, but I think she did very well talking about her experience, and I think that's why she's back.
She threw out a couple lines. Excuse me, that's a shot line. She threw a couple shots out there with her Ring of Honor debut.
She did.
Yeah, I was
she did.
Okay, but was she on the podcast circuit, or did she try to make it a part of her wrestling?
You're right. It was a part of the character. It wasn't needed though. Let's for what she ended up
Could've
doing.
been left out.
Yeah,
like Cody Rhodes taking a sledgehammer to a certain throne.
That was
AEW pay-per-view.
That was just blatant disrespect.
That was Daddy.
He was like
attention. That's all.
Yeah, that was like, you get over here and love me. That's what that shit was. That was good. Give me a hug. Get over here and love me. That was what that was. And then look at where he's at now.
See, look, exactly. If only Tariq and James St. Patrick could have reunited the way.
We're not doing power talk. No.
Cody and Triple H did.
Stop.
Tariq need to get Ghost's ass out of here for good reason.
What? Ghost is a ghost, but he still haunts Tariq. I don't care what anybody say. We're not going into the Powerverse right now. We're not doing this. We're not. No. Move on, because that's a whole other. That's gonna be a separate fan club from fan club on a different fan club. Stop.
Outside of the fan club, outside.
I know kind of triggered. Like, what's going on, friend?
Because
what's going on, friend?
No, a lot.
Tariq did the Lord's work. You don't agree with it?
Stop it. No. Justin, are you so lucky I don't run this club? You've been kicked out a long time ago. Stop. Moving on.
One more time.
Yes, please. Because stop. I'm begging you.
They say this is a big
shout out to Bodymore Bottles.
Oh my God.
I don't drink Bodymore Bottles.
And y'all say that I'm the heel. Look no further.
Justin's always been the villain, and then you like a tweener.
He's the Mama Pope.
The fuck did I do?
He's not the real enemy. She is. Yo, that moment.
Justin, don't be shocked.
I mean, I'll take Papa Pope too. You are a boy. That man undressed the president of the United States
while locked up
and called him a fucking boy.
Yo, he really
the hell and the how.
My daughter could do much better than this motherfucker here.
Yo, the way
you're shackled up. What are you doing?
The way he read Congress in the finale episode, the way he was like, "Listen, you are all automatons. Y'all don't run this country. Y'all think y'all run this country." No, I've been running this shit the entire time. You know they ain't like that.
CRISTA B got it right. CRISTA B got it right. How about we take a short break and then we'll get into Backlash, Zelina Vega, Bad Bunny.
Oh my God, so much.
We'll get into all of that right after this break.
We're going quick.
What up? It's your boy Blue Magic from the Mix Tag Show and also owner For Your Wear. Now, I know you've seen the announcement from some of your favorite podcasters, and soon you'll see some of your favorite wrestlers too. I decided to expand my business to be a vendor so people from the wrestling community have more chance to connect with some of their favorites. So check out foryourwear.com and see if your favorite podcaster or wrestler has teamed up with me. If not, let them know they should. Also, if you're looking for a vendor for your merchandise, go ahead and reach out to me at Blue Magic Grind, spell how it sound, or For Your Wear, FORURWEAR. And shout out to those wrestling girls for being one of the first to join me on this journey. Their merch is already up, so go ahead and cop that.
Go ahead and cop that.
Shout
out to Blue, yo.
Shout out to Blue. And foryourwear.com.
Get everybody me a couple of them shirts.
Everybody got merchandise on there.
Me? I don't.
Yet. Support. So let's get into Backlash really quickly, and just one backstory that we shared on the show before. But I do feel like KRISTA B and I were in the room in Boston in the press conference with Issa when the seeds were being planted, or at least from our perspective of having a show in Puerto Rico. And then here we go. We got Bad Bunny being the host. It turned into this whole storyline, and it ended up being a show I think that exceeded everyone's expectations. Even SmackDown the night before in Puerto Rico, I think, hit on all cylinders. How did you guys feel about it really quick? Thinking back on it, I wish I could relive that moment.
Oh man.
Jambella. Allah. That's it. Listen, first of all, shout out to the person with the drone footage, because I could learn to fly a drone like that. I feel like I'd be in better business. But they caught like some of the best footage. Like, remember when we were trying to look at the arena, and I'm like, how's it gonna make this work? The fans literally showed us like, listen, we like WWE belongs here, and the amount of people that will fill, and the fact that they sang that song at the top of their lungs, enough for Bad Bunny to feed off the energy, for him to walk into that arena, made it better than any pickup truck that could go through the arena, any car that could be driven through, any police escort or anything. Like, it made it better than any, for him especially, and even for Damian Priest to be in his hometown, literally. For him to be in his hometown, for Zelina to go home and have the outfit she had to represent her pay homage to her home country. Like, all in all, I feel like that was better than any WrestleMania moment for any of them. And I think that was their moment. Like, especially for her, it made me happy for her, because she's been in it. Like, for those who are Stana fans of Zelina Vega when she was Trinity, I want to say it right. What was her first wrestling name? Trinidad Thea?
Thea Trinidad.
Yeah, Thea Trinidad. This is a full circuit moment for her. She got to wrestle years of being in this industry, and you get to go home and wrestle in front of your family. That's amazing. A huge moment.
Like, I literally did not watch that. Like, I just cried the whole time, because like I was just so happy for her, and she's always been a heel. So her being able to absorb the crowd cheering for her in her hometown in front of her family, I love that for her, to the point where I don't think people would have been like all the way upset if she, made that upset and beat Rhea Ripley for the title in Puerto Rico. That's how big of a babyface Zelina Vega became, and she still is now. Like, now people are like, she should win Money in the Bank. Is she one of the biggest like breakout stars sort of this year, would you guys say?
Oh, that's a good question.
She from like kind of mid Carter, she was doing the Queen, of the Queen thing. She was tag team champion with Carmella, but I think now is when people are really rooting for her to go far.
Definitely call her a big breakout star. You see, not only like we knew she could talk, we knew that she could work, but to see what she's doing and the crossover appeal, and them really embracing her influence outside of the ring, from Street Fighter, you hear, she's doing commentary for Street Fighter. We mentioned several episodes with Fan Club when she was at, was it Crunchyroll? What was that? Yeah, so I think that she is my pick for Miss Money in the Bank this year. It's been said multiple times here that women unfortunately cash in on the same night. Zelina Vega walking around with the briefcase on red carpets at gaming conventions. You imagine like her getting a customized briefcase that looks like a controller or something.
Oh my god!
And they just announced they partnership with Twitch. So imagine her talking about it on Twitch, making it known like, hey, this is my briefcase.
Yeah, wait a minute. I think we got a new international champion.
Wait, what?
Never mind.
Wait, is that another championship in AEW?
Yeah,
child, they pop up like pimples at this point.
He didn't win it.
I saw titles have titles.
They come up like this now. We don't even know. They pop up like a pimple in the most uncomfortable
place. I think they probably got like 25, 30 titles over there. Somebody counted up for us in the fan club.
Put in the comments below.
I gotta let me know how many titles are in AEW.
So
please,
I know
it's at least a dozen. Plus, you got to include the ROH stuff because they be putting out on AEW television.
Did anybody watch Dominion? I just watched New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion, and the commentary through because my British husband Will was opening the show so he can get his title back, and the commentary team like kind of threw a little bit of shade that Kenny Omega had the title but wasn't defending it. So now I'm interested in where they're going with that, because if the rumors are true, I'm hoping Will comes back and takes the title back at Forbidden Door. Because the commentary team was like, oh, we have a title, but the guy that's holding it hasn't, he ain't been defending it. And they're like, well, he's taking it to a different company. Yeah, that's not they were shady as hell. If anybody watched it, please let me know from Accurate in the comments because they were like shady. Mm-hmm. And that was another, I want to go into that moment. I want to go into the moment of the first New Japan Pro Wrestling because I feel like this was the most watched one yet. A lot of changes happened, like specifically with Kenny Omega becoming the champion.
Hold on one sec. Can I get my take off on Zelina real quick before we do that?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
So I'm gonna keep it on Zelina because y'all already know this is the entire reason why I started my YouTube channel and started doing these reviews was because of Backlash and how much that meant to me and the people of Puerto Rico and seeing people like Zelina Vega who would have never gotten a title match like this before and getting a high profile title match. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest who could have and honestly should have main evented that damn show, but having two Puerto Ricans in a high profile match, non-title on the line. That's stuff that does not happen on WWE, period. That's almost like watching Kofi win the title at WrestleMania 35, where you don't get those moments of having people like yourself get these high-profile moments. So for Backlash, y'all already know that. You can go pull up the YouTube video, and I talk all about that. Zelina, though, look at this time last year. When people was talking about, is she having all this momentum? And it's like, yes, she should be someone that should be heavily considered for Money in the Bank because this time last year, this was Liv Morgan in this spot where she wasn't really doing much. She was kind of bubbling. People liked her. And all of a sudden, she's going into Money in the Bank with a little momentum. She wins that briefcase. She cashes on Ronda Rousey, becomes champion. And you see how that jumpstarts Liv Morgan in her singles career. Because all we knew from Liv Morgan was we love her. We love her personality. We like the Riot Squad. It never happened for them as the tag team champion. But now Liv got to be champion, and we looked at her in a different light. And Zelina's on this run where with LWO backing her up, with her having this momentum carry over from Backlash, you see her be the first person to qualify for Money in the Bank. You can, and Brian put it perfect, where it's like she's someone that can not only win the briefcase and is believable, but you can see her hold on to that, which is something that they've struggled doing in the women's division. Because basically, if you win the briefcase, you're cashing in within the next 24 hours, unless you're Carmella. But Zelina can hold on to that for a while, especially if you have Rhea still as champion, especially if you have Asuka still as champion or Bianca gets that back. Maybe she's like, I'm gonna wait and see how this plays out, and then I can also play into her character. And maybe do I need to get LWO involved to distract of Rhea Ripley? That way I can get a 1v1 and we can run that back and as a fair one. Or if I'm going against Asuka or Bianca, now I can go as a heel and have them fuck with you guys, and I just pick up the scraps and get the title that way. But now Zelina upped her stock to where like now she should be like one of the heavy favorites. Even though Becky Lynch is in there, Becky Lynch, you see she's kind of entangled with Trish. We don't know where that's going to go. Why not? Why not Zelina? And not just because she's Puerto Rican. Got to Savi.
No, she's good. She definitely deserves that, for sure. But Seindole, you got into New Japan.
A lot of great moments here. Come on, Justin, let's talk about it. A lot of great moments in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Definitely, they call it a resurgence. I feel like, no, it's just them becoming established. Like, first of all, a lot of people were excited about their annual first pay-per-view of the year. I felt like it was one of the best ones yet to date. And then for Trinity to show up, for Mercedes Mone to just show up. That was the beginning of the year because all the rumblings, I feel like it was the most. I know we're going back to what we already talked about, but I felt like it was finally at that time where it's like, okay, we're now starting to see why a lot of people see the importance of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know a lot of people like to come from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not understanding why. Like, just tell me you don't like real wrestling and we can move on from that. But I feel like there's going to be more opportunity now, the way that people saw more opportunity. Not just going to WWE as an option. I'm hoping we keep seeing new blood, because I feel like even with Switchblade and all these people that come from New Japan, they speak so highly of it. Like Daniel Bryan speaks so highly of it. AJ Styles was still speaking so highly of it in his interviews recently. You have a whole bunch of talent just speaking so much up on it. Like, I know the Bullet Club has changed 300 in different times, but it's worth watching who joins the Bullet Club and who doesn't, because those are the guys that normally on the rise. If people don't pay attention, there's more people in the Bullet Club that move out of New Japan Pro Wrestling and go on do better things than any other staple in any other franchise to date. And that's just my opinion.
You brought up Danielson.
Yes.
He's on AEW
Wait,
right now.
Justin, take it
They're
over.
running the promo package.
Oh,
Danielson versus Okada.
Now you can see what I mean. Like,
look, Kenny Omega versus Okada had me in like that made me like, okay, I gotta find this. And I remember where they went like 64 minutes, and I watched like every single minute of it. Didn't need to know the whole backstory.
Oh, so you're talking about Okada Omega too, where they went to Iron Man.
Yeah, and it was good. And now you get my favorite wrestler against the guy, the only guy to be on PWI #1 that wasn't in the United States for like forever. Man, come on. This is going to be so good.
In the words of JR, it's going to be a slobber knocker.
You talk about dream matches like that.
Justin,
you don't get no bigger
gas
than
up
that.
the pacer. We going to Legends.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Reserve the table. Reserve the table.
But Sienna was talking about New Japan, and it's like it's good to see where they're at this year because they were trying so hard to make like headways in the US, and then the pandemic happened and it crushed everything that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because not only did the pandemic shut down everything here, but they were even more strict in Japan to where they weren't really traveling and whatnot. So they actually hit pause for a while, and that killed all their momentum. You think of 2019. They run MSG with ROH, and basically we looked at that as a New Japan show, guest starring ROH stuff, but we were like, we're here for the New Japan stuff. And they were really making those headways, like having the first night of G1 in Dallas, having more of the New Japan shows in California, trying to have another New York show, and then the pandemic
sold out Philly.
Sold out Philly. Yep. And so now this year, they're starting to come back outside and get back that momentum. And it started with Wrestle Kingdom. Mercedes helped a lot of that because that's where the buzz of will she, won't she, on top of Wrestle Kingdom being New Japan's WrestleMania, everyone tunes in for that regardless. But now you have this added buzz of, oh shit, Kenny Omega's pulling up? Shit, I thought Kenny Omega was done with New Japan. Wait, Mercedes might pull up? Shit, let's go watch. And then since Wrestle Kingdom, they've just put on bangers after bangers. Sakura Genesis was a banger. New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence was a banger. Battle in the Valley was a banger. I still got to watch Dominion, but I'm definitely going to watch Dominion because Dominion is their SummerSlam, and they don't usually miss with Dominion. And then
I love that we're learning about all of this, and I appreciate that, Justin, because I am still learning about New Japan. And
I'm telling you.
So right now, right now is the perfect time to be a New Japan fan because Dominion is their SummerSlam, and starting July is G1. G1 is their biggest tournament. It's the biggest tournament in wrestling, period. This is like King of the Ring meets Royal Rumble importance because whoever wins G1 main events Wrestle Kingdom. So this is like highly important, but it's a month straight of they have matches round robin style to get to the finals and whatnot. And then the finals is a really, really big deal because obviously winner main events Wrestle Kingdom. And then you get like the best stretch of fucking wrestling for like a month straight.
That's why y'all subscribe to Justin's YouTube channel because you get an incredible breakdown on all this good shit.
You want good analysis? Look no further than the man to the left. You want analysis? You need analysis.
Everybody in the fan club better be subscribed.
And that's on period. Like CRISPA said.
Also, actually, no, we're not gonna have a problem. You're missing out. If you are not subscribed, so make sure. Look at that face. Look at that face.
You want analysis? Come on, click that subscribe button, put the notification bell on.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Like Krista B said, subscribe. So you guys mentioned, Seindole, I don't know if you had a point about Japan.
Yeah, because
I got excited.
It's okay because if you can't talk about Japan without talking about Stardom, like Stardom is starting to pick itself back up from where it was at.
Yes.
Like we were so hyped for Mercedes, and I wish her well very soon because she only checked 2 people off my list. Like she still got to go against Juliana. She still got to go against Sari. She got to go against all these list of people. And then like where I feel like now that Willow Nightingale has the belts. Now even Willow Nightingale gets that.
Yes.
Y'all don't realize that Willow Nightingale is in her Daniel Bryanson New Japan Pro Wrestling era with this belt. Like her becoming the strong women's champion right now.
girl.
She now has open opportunity. She just had her first like technical title reign match. Friend of the show, we love her, but like she's on that role. Like from the hype that was beginning with Bryan Danielson to people putting on a map for him going to a different country and being respected and noticed there, she's being noticed. She's on like people like put some respect on sis name. Like she's on that Daniel Bryanson line. Y'all don't understand. Like don't be surprised if
Bryanson, I like that.
Yeah, like she's. I'm sorry, but Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. She's been it. Like she's her. We talking about him. She's her.
You know,
like
sorry.
And it's surprising to me that people were both upset and both like, well, finally, like this is what we've been talking about. Like, give her a chance, and boom, she gets a chance. She has this title. I think she's gonna carry it very well. But she's very much in peak. Like the way I see her being buzzed around, the people were buzzing around AJ Styles, and that to me is not even. That's a green flag, in my opinion.
Ooh,
look, you see nice people lose all the time, right? And you look at somebody like Willow, and you're like, oh, she's too nice. She'll get ran over, get eaten up by the business because she's so nice. But when you see her win and when you see this happen, it's like it just makes you excited because it's like finally you see nice people can finish first. And to see everything that she's been doing, I can't wait till she get her crowning moment. Personally, I kind of was hoping she would have been the one to defeat Jade for the TBS
I already know for a fact. We're gonna get into that when we talk about that moment. You already know that belt had.
Let's get into it now because I don't think anyone saw Jade Cargill losing this year. Like I think it was I wanted her to lose. I felt like it was time. I think it was. I thought it was getting stale. I thought it was not doing her star power any favors by having her hog this belt with like non-competitive matches. You're clearly dominant star. You have 60 wins. Why aren't you contending for the main title? Like it was a lot of different things. But this year we did see a swerve. How did you guys feel about this?
It wasn't no swerve. That title had that girl name on it. All that happened to her was she got injured. And then y'all want to sit here and hoodwink me and think it's okay to throw poor Taya Valkyrie into that match and think, oh, she's gonna walk away with it. I done told y'all on this fan club, it's not happening. I done told y'all that was not happening. It has Chris Statlander. It had my good sis Statlander's name on it from the moment she got injured to the moment she came back. And when I saw her come back, I said, this is it. It's done. We're ending at 60 and that's it. And as bad as
it sound like a mom or auntie on a Tyler Perry movie, you just broke this down.
I had to break it down like that because people didn't want to hear it. Like people didn't want to hear it. We get it. Tanya was it. We get it. But we already graded the match. It wasn't it. It didn't give what it was supposed to have gave. Like you gave me no money. Like you gave me pocket change. You didn't even.
So you would have rather see a build up?
No, I'm happy it happened the way that it happened because, like I said, it should have they had Statlander's name on it, but only thing that stopped it was that she got injured. Yeah. But like, not for nothing, you could have did what you did with like Becky coming back and said that something happened to Tanya, and then Statlander could have entered, and then have it be what it should have been. But I feel like we're not gonna be done with Jade and Statlander yet because there's gonna be a point that has to be proven. I don't know what's going on with Jade. Maybe she is taking a little bit of hiatus. I feel like she will come back for that belt eventually because you're not going to tell me that somebody that goes 60 days with a belt is not going to feel some type of way that they lost it in a matter of minutes.
60 days? She went almost...
60 matches. 60 matches and have them not feel some type of way about it. It's going to let this girl go hunky-dory. Come on.
Blame the manager. It was the manager's fault. No one told him like, yo, anytime, any place, anywhere. And Statlander said, oh, hold my crutches. I got this. No one told him to say that. Even Jade's like, yo, I just wrestled a fucking match. What are you doing? All right, fine, but what are you doing?
You see where it's cooking? Like, she's gonna come back and like, you're gonna give me back what's mine, or I'm gonna fight you for it, fair and square.
I like it because we got to see Jade go 60-0.
Right.
We got to get that epic entrance followed up with the win. And since they had to take the title off of it, she had 60. You know, it's all numbers, and I get it, but I liked it. You know, and when it's all said and done, you know, I mean, we want to see Jade go after the big belt, but I wouldn't mind seeing her like stay away for a little bit. You know, maybe she goes on a tear, and I'm thinking like maybe she goes on a tear and gets into it with Layla Gray, and they have their little inner beef before she goes to the World Championship.
Yeah, I'm done with the baddie section. Like,
because Layla Gray, honestly, and I like her. She cool peoples, but she looking like Virgil right now, and I don't like that.
Oh damn!
Like,
now that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
The reason is because Virgil, even once he got from under the $1 Million Man's orbit, he never looked like he could ever win a big match. Sure, Bret Hart defended the championship against him, but Bret was defending the battle against everybody like Seth Rollins is doing. But he never looked like, even when he was a good guy, people cheered for him and he beat $1 Million Man. But it was like you never was going to take him seriously. And if you ever meet him, like yo, he's a big, like he looks like a wrestler, but because he was the lackey for so long, and that's the thing I don't want to see Layla Gray get into, because one, the women's division, there's not enough women's wrestlers for to even waste a talented person in that type of role. So, you know, and she's somebody who does work hard. She wrestles a lot in OVW and other promotions. So I want to see her have a legit feud, but it's just hard for me right now to see them doing more with her coming out of this baddie section.
Have any other favorite AEW moments of the year?
Man, y'all know that I can't even joke. I was just say that Cole Chris Jericho. Nah, you know, honestly, you brought it up earlier, the AEW All Access. It made me appreciate the show. It made me appreciate it more, you know. Just it made me like looking at it, and you know, I got more respect for Sammy Guevara. I wish he wouldn't go out there and try to kill himself after every match. It's like, you know, dude, he's
trying to earn our respect, but I feel like respect is already earned. I don't think he needs to do. I wish somebody would literally just pull him to the side and be like, "All right, dude, like we get it. You're trying to make up for you being immature. Like we get it. Stop." Because it's starting to scare me at a point. Like him and Jungle Boy, I feel like in the same boat, because people like Jungle Boy keeps going out and doing these things that is just like, we get it. Like Young Perry, we love you. Like you don't need to do all this stuff. We feel like. I feel like y'all. I don't think they're ready for that.
I'm ready for I want to see him be
No, I told you I feel like it's gonna be Hook before Tim, because Hook needs the personality. Like we're tired of him being nonchalant. I think it's gonna be Hook before him. I'm not saying it's never gonna happen, but I feel like it's gonna be Hook before him.
Hook from Red Hook.
Yeah, because his daddy from Red Hook.
Oh, right.
But RVD exposed his daddy that his daddy wasn't a real tough guy.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, Red Hook ain't that bad.
It's not.
No.
See, I wouldn't. You know the way they.
It's not that bad, child. If he said he was from Bed-Stuy, maybe, but
that's
he said he was from like East New York, maybe.
Yeah, that's that part of that's that part of Brooklyn that we don't really talk about, but that's Brooklyn, you know.
Yeah.
But Brian talked about All Access, so I'm gonna switch from a show to an actual pay-per-view. AEW Revolution was one of the best AEW pay-per-views I've seen them do, and it was something that they honestly needed after all the shenanigans with the brawl backstage, with everything CM Punk, the hot potatoing of the AEW World Title, the Thunder Rosa stuff, and the hot potatoing of the AEW Women's Title and whatnot. Like AEW really needed a show that needed to deliver and put their best foot forward and show like this is what our company is and what's going to be. And Revolution from start to end was just a banger of a pay-per-view, highlighted by the main event, MJF, Bryan Danielson, that Iron Man match that was so fucking brutal, but so goddamn good. That's like, yo, now I see why Bryan wanted to leave WWE, so he could put on these type of matches. And it made me look at MJF in a different light, to where it's like, okay, now I can actually see you as the guy holding the title, but someone that can be the face of this company down the line. Still got steps that he needs to, you know, prove and whatnot, but like, you checked off a major box. And that was a pay-per-view that absolutely delivered in spades. I was just like, holy shit, this is the best AEW pay-per-view I've seen, not just this year. Like, I've seen them do, period, because The problem with AEW sometimes with their pay-per-views, there's a couple misses or some things that don't hit right or blackface. But Revolution was just a start to end. Like, bro, the only bad thing about that pay-per-view was the whole MJF throwing the drink on the kid. And then we find out that was like, when that's literally the only bad thing that happens on your entire pay-per-view and everything else is just fucking great. AEW, that was a thumbs up.
And then as to go into him a little bit, I feel like when it comes to somebody holding a title, they automatically assume, okay, this is the face of your company, put the title on him, right? But like, there has to be growth in a certain space. Has he really been a champion for that long anywhere else? I think he was a champion in the indie circuit, but it wasn't that long. Yeah, I have to understand, not everybody can be the Roman Reigns. Not everybody can lead like Seth Rollins. Not everybody can have like a presence like Jade. Like, you have to let people be who they are in a sense. And I feel like we hold such a standard when somebody's champion, but we also notice that we only hold them to a standard when the champion, when they're our favorite. And then he's not everybody's favorite. He's not. Like, if we're going to be really transparent about it, he's not. But to say that, oh, he's not drawing no tickets and then but like, he's his own person. Like, is he really the one in charge of drawing the tickets? Or is it the man who literally commands every TP to put him in a certain space to make sure he draws tickets to his show? You can't put all that on MJF. I think it's really unfair. Like, not like I said, not everybody can be Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns can draw, but look at the work that Roman Reigns had to put in. It wasn't all Vince McMahon putting in that work. Like he was the one doing the promos and being himself and talking all his shit and making everybody acknowledge him as tribal chief. Like, but he has that energy. MJF, y'all not letting him have that energy. And I wish they would stop that whole, oh, the champion is the one who's drawing the tickets and drawing the sales. He's a bad champion because he's not drawing ticket sales. Like, that's not his job. His job is to entertain the fuck out of you and then put on good matches. That's really it at the end of the day. Anything else he does is going to be for him. It's not his job to hold the company over. He still has a fan base, which when I noticed on Twitter, heel or not, it's growing, whether you like it or not. So he, even with Jade, like Jade, people were like, oh, this everything that was going on was a joke. Like, this reign is a joke. But like, you gotta understand, people still stand with her. People will still fight you tooth and nail if you talk shit about her. That's the type of energy that they have. It's not on them to draw tickets. It's on the man who literally gets up there with his rebel hair and starts making these random ass announcements to draw you your tickets. It's not anybody else's job but him. Put on a good show and those tickets will sell.
And look at your other options in AEW. Moxley had that title numerous times. Punk couldn't stay healthy. Brian has made it clear he does not want that title. People love Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was gone for a while for a reason. That man had 19 different injuries, some minor, some major.
And even when he came back, he was like, well, the title's not in my focus right now. There's other things I want to do in the company. And he's tagging with two of his bestest friends.
Yeah. Speaking of selling tickets, I want to know what your favorite wrestling shows you guys been to this year so far.
I mean,
I haven't been to any, so I can't answer that.
I got to go outside, so I'm TBD.
You said TBD. I'm sorry, I didn't
Only
realize.
the two people above us have actually been to like actual shows.
I mean, I could say like,
you know what it is.
I could say like the Raws and SmackDowns, but it's like, are we really gonna put Raws and SmackDowns in there?
I haven't gone to any of those either.
I would say we went to SmackDown this year.
SmackDown was fun.
Especially the after party.
Yeah,
shout out to Britt Waters.
Yeah, shout out to Britt Waters. That was a lot. That was my first time. Like,
hell yeah, Britt's been booked and busy, and Sis is doing her thing.
Yeah, she really has been. Besides Mania, I would say
that's a hell of a one to go to because that was a hell of a Mania.
Yeah, that's like a whole like thing. But I think like going to DC for that SmackDown was a lot of fun. I think all the Battle Club Pro shows were fun. Just being outside again, Legends is always fun. Like, I think everyone is kind of like revitalized again.
I've realized I haven't done any indie shows yet. Now
Me
that you say something, I'm like last year we was probably
what was the
already
Bougie show
a year ago. May 19th.
No, not that one. The one in the Bronx.
We didn't go to that.
I would say October, November.
November.
Ah, okay,
November 4th.
We didn't go to the recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jay Bougie, still
And
doing
shout out
his
to him.
thing.
I saw him I saw him on MLW's website.
What?
He about,
I missed that.
I'm gonna send it to you.
shit. And he about to be a father.
He about to be a pappy. He about to be pappy.
He about to be a father.
He about to be a pappy.
Look, let me tell y'all.
He the pappy.
Look, I'm always saying this. I'm proud of that dude. Like me and Bougie talk all the time. Now we can reveal that information. I was reliving the epic match that he had at home on his home turf, where he fair and squarely won that match in front of his grandma the first time she got
your heel turned.
And square.
Hey, he hit his finisher, and that was the cause of the 1, 2, 3. Am I wrong?
Shenanigans.
No.
Am I wrong? He hit his finisher. 1, 2, 3.
Bring our bougie matches and
Heel turn.
go there.
You said in 2023?
I mean, no. If we want to go back to bougie match moments,
Oh yeah,
all of them,
and just watching him, like, he gets it. You know what I mean? And like I said, y'all know we 12 days away from the BRP 50, baby.
Oh shit!
I call it Seindele's duck and hide season because they're scary and Twitter gets scary.
So we putting bets. I'm gonna say over under Bougie. I'm gonna say top 30.
I was gonna say top.
I like that.
I'm going top 30.
I'll co-sign that.
I haven't got no inside information. I haven't been tipped nothing. I just probably mentioned the list earlier to Cal, but I wouldn't dare. But I'm putting top 30. But obviously this moment right here. WrestleMania.
Talk about pappies.
We're talking about breakout stars. Dominic gotta be there.
Oh, listen, I'm telling you that 39 seconds he spent in solitary confinement did a lot for his career.
You know that man was not in solitary confinement. He was.
I don't care where he was.
He learned some things.
I don't care where he was. He did what it was supposed to have done.
That man went through some hard times. He became
for 14 minutes. That's good. I'm with it.
Hey man, all it takes is 14 minutes.
Prison Dom took a life on his own.
Yes,
like this is alone. We're like
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the mentors.
That was another one I was showing my sister. Y'all know, you can get your hair done. It takes forever, so it was more than enough time. I was showing her. I don't know if CRISTA B's still in the audience, but we made the TV like when they did the replay.
I did.
Yeah. So, and you see me and CRISTA. So I was showing her that. I said, but look, before you see this, like, I gotta show you these entrances. So, one, she couldn't understand why Dom was sitting up there. Like, I had to break it down while he was in jail. She's like, wait, is he really coming out? And I missed the entrance package before where he gets into the truck. Because, I don't remember seeing it. I don't know if you do, P, like seeing it on the Tron. I don't remember seeing it on the video walls or anything. So, we see that there she sees Rey Mysterio. And then we laughing because she's like, yo, Rey Mysterio with the mask, you would never know how old he looks because he got the mask on. That's genius.
She onto something.
Yeah, and so we saw, and then obviously Snoop Dogg coming out there. So just like watching those entrances, I'm glad. I think it was Wealth Warrior who brought it up. I'm glad he brought it up because like that right there, and then the match delivered, and then his sister with the cup.
Oh my god!
And he said it the next day on the Masked Man. He said, look, that wasn't planned, but when I got out the ring and I saw she had a cup, the first thing I said, dumbass. He said, because I knew I was gonna smack it out of her head.
Yo, that's that sibling shit, yo.
Yeah.
Where
that really is that. That's that sibling stuff.
Yo.
And look, we was like, y'all remember the whole time leading up. Hold on, Adam Cole just walked out to MJF while MJF was talking. If you telling me that this is gonna be the next AEW champion, I am ready.
I'm with it.
We love Adam Cole. Like I'm he's such a nice guy.
We love us some Adam Cole.
Like and when he's a heel, he's so good because he knows how to make it believable. Even though everybody knows he's never that mean in his life, but it's like he knows how, like, man, NXT Adam Cole was like the man. I know Braun Breaker said undefeated, most dominant champion, but NXT Adam Cole, if he would have been on USA,
that was his final form. He figured, he put everything together from like the indies, and like I feel like NXT Adam Cole was like his final form.
God dang,
where that really unlocked him, and I was just like, holy shit, God, because I knew about Adam Cole. I watched Adam Cole, especially through like New Japan stuff. But then like, the NXT run was like, I finally get the Adam Cole hype. Like, I get it now. And it's not just catchphrase. It's like the entire fucking package. And then you saw him elevate his way up the card to where Gargano and Cole to be in the building for that 2 out of 3 falls match. That's still one of the loudest crowd reactions I've ever been a part of. Where that third fall. When I tell you they had Brooklyn in the palm of their hand and had that place going ape shit to where you couldn't hear anything.
Oh my God.
That was.
Yeah, man. What an
error.
There's loud and then there's like deafening where it's like I can't even hear myself talk. It's this fucking loud.
No, I think this is probably one of the most exciting times to be a wrestling fan, just across the board.
And that's why I'm saying, like, you can't get into the fray, like. The whole, like, I don't know why I'm still so triggered by this, but like, if you sit here and tell people they're gatekeeping wrestling, you are blind. You can't see. You only see red retina. Wrestling is literally everywhere right now. It's everywhere. Don't be surprised you see Roman Reigns on like a USA episode of something. It's everywhere. It's in your face and it's live. For you to not acknowledge that wrestling is on a high, and I talked about this last night. If y'all don't notice, territories are back. They've been back, and people don't want to acknowledge that they're back. The amount of shows.
I said caught when you said that last night.
Yeah, like the territories are back. People were saying, remember when it used to be just WWE and that's it, and then you only had a little bit of WCW here and there, but now like
everyone's thriving.
Everyone's has something going on to where now it's even international. Like the territories are back. Like no one's gonna be able to buy up anything. And it is because we're getting a redo of the eras that Jim Cornette and like Tom Pritchard and all these people talked about. They're back.
Exactly.
And who's going to be here to document it?
And it's not just inside wrestling, like Brian Seindole was talking about it. Like you're seeing people pull up on Breakfast Club and Hot 97. You're seeing people go to
like Sherry Stripper was asking this Hashiki the Samoan man today. Come on now.
You're seeing Mercedes go to Hollywood, and then there's talk that Becky's and Trinity are going to join right behind her. You're seeing
Seth Rollins is in a Marvels movie.
WWE just announced the deal with Twitch, so now you're going to be seeing more of your superstars who are already gamers. You're going to see them more on these platforms. Yep. Like you're seeing them cross over to where Cardi acknowledges, as talked this more than one time, where like she acknowledges like, yo, I used to watch wrestling. Eddie Guerrero is one of my favorites. You hear Bad Bunny, the biggest artist on the fucking planet, not only talks about wrestling but pulls up and actually has matches. Bad Bunny's had more matches than the fucking Rock in the last 10 years.
Hello. Get it. Listen, jab it where it hurts. Get into it. It's not fictional. It's fact.
But you know what? We got to talk about this moment.
We do.
We got to. Trish Stratus.
That's what I wanted to close off with. So Trish and Lita came back this year, and it was exciting because we've always advocated for, the women that are legends to come back and have runs, just like Edge, who refuses to leave. So why can't Trish and Lita and more people do the same thing? I don't know why Lita kind of got like X'd out of this storyline, but I think honestly the biggest takeaway from this has been having Trish Stratus back full time. I am obsessed.
Yo, it's given the energy it was given when she was heel back in the day, and I'm just rooting for it because let me tell you something what she's not doing, and what I'm glad everybody was like, why are you so happy about the way the match ended with Becky versus her at Night of Champions? Because look at what she did. She bought her a prototype out to help her win, and the promo that Zoe, first of all, claps to Zoe because like. The promo she cut fit right into what they teach down there at the factory at NXT. Like that was a clean ass promo. Now, if somebody could just get in the ring and rehearse that finisher with her, I feel like we'll get the same energy we get at NXT. It takes time because she's not on a new roster, but that was perfect. That segment went the way it should go.
So excited for Zoe.
It's a draw. And then you talk about how Lita has disappeared. Who said anything that Lita wasn't going to come back into the fray?
Right. It's true. I'm excited to see how they do bring her back in because it's been really exciting having Trish back. And when she got drafted, I think that was when I was like, oh my God, because I was like, this could be a Mania storyline. You know, they're going to get phased out or whatever. But no, she here to stay and she's bringing it.
I just figured it out.
You see the smile on her face? This smile is because of Trish Stratus. Because you have one of the GOATs in wrestling back in the ring, but actually going to wrestle for a while. This is something that a lot of us fans have been clamoring for. Like, yo, when are you going to actually wrestle? Because we see Lita pull up. We don't really get to see Trish pull up. It's very like spotty. Maybe it's a Royal Rumble.
Always accompanying.
Maybe it's like Evolution, but that's really it. But now we're actually getting like a Trish run, and it makes sense.
Awesome.
It's old school versus the now with Becky Lynch. And again, secondary storylines. A story without a title. And Trish looks fucking good.
I'm waiting to hear what Brian got to say.
And then you add Zoe to this, where it's like all it's going to do is elevate Zoe because you get to learn from two of the greatest to ever do it.
No, that learning.
That's a hell of a starting platform.
No, my fault. Y'all know this is a wrestling day and it's a big wrestling moment. Like my pastor literally just texted me saying he was looking for a special on the Iron Sheik, and I'm like, yeah, we mentioned it earlier and we actually talking about it now. Yep. We mentioned at the beginning of the stream. So last night, Dark Side of the Ring on Magnum TA, right? One of the things they didn't go into was when Magnum TA got put over. He got put over by Mr. Wrestling 2 back in the late 70s, early 80s, back in the territory days, right? And what Mr. Wrestling 2 did was he took him aside. He was, kind of like Magnum TA was like his young boy. He, showed him the ropes. They was a tag team, and then there was a match when Mr. Wrestling 2 left Magnum TA on his own, and then boom, he did the whole turn on him. I could see that happening as y'all was talking with Trish Stratus and Zoe Zoe Stark. Like that's what got me so excited because I'm like,
hey, really?
This is genius. Yeah. Think about it. She's elevating her, and then boom, she turns on her. That would put that sympathy factor behind her, Zoe Stark. Give her some, she's got like I said, vision. More personality than she had in NXT. But working with Trish Stratus, she's going to going up a couple notches. So I could see that being a possibility to go with that story. And then boom, you get the sympathy factor behind Zoe Stark. And you got another star.
As long as they finish that part with Trish and Zoe, because they had that with Dana Brooke and Charlotte Flair, where Dana was Charlotte's muscle. We talked about that on Dana Brooke Appreciation Night. The only thing was WWE did not follow that up when Charlotte finally turned on Dana, and it was sitting right there.
Justin, no, here's the thing. The only thing was when Zoe Stark came out that first time on Raw, she made her presence known. That's the thing Dana Brooke failed to do and failed to do most recently. She failed to make her to really say, okay, I'm here and I'm here to take what's mine. Zoe Stark did that. So that's the reason why I'd be more confident in Zoe Stark actually pulling out the execution. Because there's a lot of times people get opportunities, they just don't execute, like Peyton Royce.
But you also have to realize too, jeez, that was a stab, bro. Like
it was the truth. You remember that episode of Raw Talk?
Yeah. But hear me out though. We have to get off. That's another thing I wish we get off. Get off the high horse of everybody is going to fast burn the way that your favorites have fast burn. Not everybody is a fast burn. We talk about Becky so goddamn much on this show. She had one of the hardest, and I say the most difficult of on puts when she got to the main roster. They weren't even checking for her.
But the difference, Seindole, is this, right? Becky was a good hand. That was the difference. Peyton Royce, Dana Brooke, Dana was a good hand eventually, but it seemed as if, and this is just the way I'm interpreting it as a fan, it seemed as if they said, okay, here, we'll give you an opportunity. You keep asking. And it was almost kind of a setup to fail, but I feel like Zoe Stark she showed out in the Royal Rumble. That's where Zoe Stark really made her case for the main roster. When she showed out and they was doing the storytelling this out there, she gets to the main roster. Like I said, NXT was a lot to be left desired, but I feel like she came out and that match, she immediately made her presence known, and you saw the charisma.
Right, but you're also talking to them in the form of like they have this widthband of. I feel like you're talking to them in the form that they have this widthband of they have to be successful. Nikki and Brie did not have that problem. Trinity didn't have that problem. A lot of these women that you notarize and you love to date did not have the problem. Natty, same thing that happened with Natty, because when people heard that Natalya Hart, the only girl who ever survived the Hart dungeon, was coming to the main roster, a lot of people back in the day thought, oh, she's going to shoot to Stardom. She also had the most difficult time. We always talk about how I hate how they treat her on Total Divas, because she deserves so much more than that. Like, we talk about them in the form of like their time is running out. Their time is not running out. We got Peyton Royce on this. We got Peyton on this break. But who's to say that she can't come back and whoop ass? Like, we got Dana Brooke. We just appreciated her. She's been there just as long. Who's not to say that next year or even this year, towards the end of the year, this could be her year? Zelina Vega's been in the industry for almost damn near a decade. Who's to say that after this pay-per-view, she's also on the map? So like, I want to stop that too, because it's like these women do not have like a widthband. I'm sorry. AJ Styles is 47 years old and literally just had the best match of his life in Saudi Arabia. If we don't count him out, let's not.
I would say the same thing about what's his name, Perfect 10. He was the same way. Like, it's not a thing. I would say, like, what I'm saying is him. Yeah, some wrestlers. it seems as if some wrestlers are given spots, and it seems some are saying, "Here's an opportunity, make the most of it." That's not fair necessarily, but I'm saying just based on what I'm seeing was presented on screen, Dana Brooke with her match with Rhea was given, okay, here's an opportunity, make the most of it. Where she went out there, she cut the promo, I deserve to be here. It's like, we know that. Where Zoe Stark felt like she was given a spot. We're putting you with Trish Stratus. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. But to be fair though, you know, that's again, there's certain things they could do that's in their control, and there's certain things that's not. I get where you're coming from. You take the opportunity, you're supposed to run with it. But like, let's not be fugazi here. People see what they want to see, and the same people in the back running the show, they'll look at you and do that promo. And we've seen documentaries about this. We've seen behind the stage where Vince McMahon lets the wrestler go out there and they're watching the tapes and they're seeing how this wrestler goes. And in that click, they're like, all right, well, in my opinion, they're not going to work. So let's just put them over here for now. The same thing happens with it's still going on. It's still going on. We hear people talk about it. Like, exactly. People wrote Kofi on, and they thought New Day was going to be a fucking joke. But what did those guys do? And that's why I agree with you, because what did those guys do? Like, I literally think they went in and they were like, well, if you want to stick us in this trio, we're going to make it what it's worth. Like, we don't give a fuck what you think about this. We're going to take you and we're going to take our own ball. And they got but also realize they let that happen. It wasn't like, it's out of our control. There's nothing we could do. Because they could have took them off TV the next week and you wouldn't have no bootios. You wouldn't have no pancakes flying. You wouldn't have no unicorn merch. They could have just dead it.
No, what?
No, the unicorn horns. There was no unicorn horns. You would have had none of that. They could have like deaded that. But what did they do? They were like, you know what?
Right. But I see your pose. Seindole too, and that's what makes wrestling hard, especially like somewhere like WWE, because it is a give and a take. You know, you can have everything, but if the machine ain't giving you anything, then it's like, so it really is one of those where kind of both sides have to believe in it. And if you are given that opportunity, to Brian's point, like, you truly do have to bring it so that the machine can, like, it's a hard business.
Well, here's my thing though.
Look at
wait, hold on, Justin. But it's like, you see, now we can give New Day all the praise in the world and give like Kofi all the praise in the world and give people that have been in the industry forever that can go to Japan and come back and do whatever they want. But why don't we give that same credibility to women? Because we're already like counting, when we like to count women out. And I'm sorry, it's true. Because we had to have a whole appreciation night just for Dan to get back on TV and be like, oh, TWG was talking about it. All right, wow. We've been speaking this before we even had an appreciation night about Dana Brooke. TWG Ben did that. They said that a while ago. But y'all wait for an appreciation night for her to pop on NXT to be like, oh, we get it. You don't get it. And what I'm hoping for going forward is that we just stop counting them out, because like we said, all we ask for 5-minute matches and we give you more than 5, and we give you 10 rated matches and you still count us out. Let's just did that. You know what I mean?
That part. So I would like to kind of end the show now. We reflected on the first half of 2023. What are you guys excited to see for the rest of the year? What shows are you most excited for? I know Money in the Bank's coming up, SummerSlam. What do you see happening the rest of the year? What are you excited about?
I'm most excited to see Trish Stratus become world champion. I think it's going to happen. I think I've been saying this. I'm going to keep saying it loud and proud. Trish Stratus will become a WWE Women's Champion in 2023.
Ooh, I love that. And I really do hope it happens. And also, this is officially happening. Thank you, Dylan. MJF versus Adam Cole is confirmed. That's going to be good. I will definitely be tuning into that for sure.
So for me, it's how does this summer conclude? Because you have so much great wrestling that's about to happen this summer. We just talked about G1 in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You're about to have Money in the Bank and SummerSlam for WWE. I think there's another pay-per-view on NXT's calendar. May have to double check me on that. Impact's going to have another show. You got Forbidden Door that's going to be pulling up at some point. There's a lot of great wrestling, so I want to see how this summer concludes, because when we came out of last summer, it was on the heels of SummerSlam, Brock taking a forklift and picking up a fucking ring, throwing Roman Reigns out.
My God!
That was amazing. I don't care what anyone says. That was dope as hell.
And then WWE really took off with this. Okay, now that Vince is gone, temporarily, now we're in this Triple H era. Let's see how this rocks. And it ended up being like very beneficial for WWE. So now I want to see how the summer goes as a whole. Now that we have NXT's clicking on cylinders, AEW's clicking on cylinders, New Japan Pro Wrestling's clicking on cylinders. Now we're talking about Impact's. Now Impact's clicking on cylinders. How do you guys go about this summer? Now that you got the eyes on you.
Yep. I'm here for all of that. Very exciting time.
I like to see wrestling finally continue to just become more mainstream as possible. Like it's a pinnacle era where it's like I said, it's an ode back to when people were excited to see The Rock do movies. Like we're back in this era now where everything is obtainable in wrestling, and you can't deny being a wrestling fan. Like I'm one more rapper away from saying, hey, they used to watch the Ruthless Aggression era and they're a Brock Lesnar fan, for it to be like, okay, wrestling's a big deal. Like let's not live denial. The Nile's a river in Egypt. If you like to watch wrestling, come and watch it with us. It's fun. We can be like boxing fans over here. You can get a little heated, but we come back down to earth. We're a united family. You free to join us. Ain't no gatekeeping the secrets over here. I just feel like this is finally going to be that time where a lot of exciting things are about to happen. I feel like this Forbidden Door is going to be better than the first one.
Yes.
Ooh.
I definitely see that happening. I feel like this SummerSlam in Detroit. I don't know. I'm itching because I'm going to SummerSlam. Yay. I feel like this is gonna be one. I feel like this is gonna be one for the books. I feel like I'm with Brian. Actually, when I thought about it last night, I'm like, yo, Trish could really walk away and become the women's champion.
I can see that. I'll be so here for that.
And we still have Money in the Bank, which I'm excited about for all my for all my England people out there. My cousin's actually going. She's taking her son. She's taking her son. He's 8 years old. Shout out to Oven. He's 8 years old. He's my godson, but shout out to him. It's his first ever wrestling match. And she's taking him. And he's so excited. He's like, Auntie, can you tell me where you got your Roman Reigns shirt? Can you be like, Auntie, I want the Acknowledge Me shirt. Can you send it to me? So I had to Amazon ship that real quick for him, but he's so excited. So shout out to everybody. The O2, I hope it's loud as hell. I hope all our British people get what they deserve, because they have not seen a live, like they have not had their energy back since NXT left.
Ooh, that's such a good point. I love when those type of crowds get a show, because it's so electric. Like you can just feel it, because they're just all so excited to be there every generation, because it doesn't come around often. Yeah. What was the Clash of Champions? I don't know. Night of Champions. That was really good.
Clash of the Castle.
Clash of the Castle.
No, wait. Wasn't there just
the UK?
Yeah, no, not the UK.
No, that was Cardiff. You're thinking about when it was in Cardiff. when it was in Wales. I'm excited too for WWE to go back to being global. They seem to be hitting the global mark well. I hope to see them in New Zealand. I hope to see them back in Australia soon. I hope the Rumble's about South.
India.
A lot of people are trying to get them to go to South Africa, which I think would be interesting for them to do. They have a lot of work as far as production wise. A lot of people were asking why they don't go. Like a lot of tours don't go to South Africa, and I can say as somebody who has family who owns production companies in Africa, it's a lot of production and money.
A huge production.
Yeah. And these cities dish out a lot of money for WWE to host there. It's not easy money to obtain. It's not easy money to budget because you have to think about hospitality. You have to think about catering to the superstars and the talent and the production teams that go over there. It's a lot of money, but God willing,
what about
it does become as global.
Do you think they loading up in NXT the talent pool for when they do get ready to go to South Africa?
I think so. No, I think that they're trying to load up the talents to keep doing these live premium event shows, and then when they're found to be like, okay, we're having this huge pay-per-view in England again, but let's bring the NXT talent for the day before. I think they're revving up for that because I think they're going to get out of the I think that's why they put 2 shows in 2 different countries at the same time, because they're like, all right, whatever WWE can't be in the States for, because we need to take our main talent overseas, because the most popular people are popular overseas. NXT is going to be the filler. Because if you notice that the Great American Bash is literally right after Money in the Bank in Texas.
Shit.
So, like, they're trying to rev it up that way.
I love that.
And I think it's a great marketing strategy. I think that's why I'm saying you can't say wrestling's not there. It's on Peacock for you to watch. Go watch it.
Not a wrestling out right now. That is like, whoever says anything close to that is just silly, because I swear there's another wrestling show. The indies are on fire right now. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, and I loved being able to reflect on some of our favorite wrestling moments so far, because I don't think there's been a bad PLE this year.
Oh, no.
Like I don't think
They
there's
have not
been many.
missed.
Raw's been hitting, SmackDown's been hitting, NXT's been hitting. Like, everything is firing on all cylinders, and we're so excited. Impact, Trin Pack. Shout out to the knockouts over there. It's a really exciting.
I'm excited about Slammiversary for the first time. I can say
Trinity pulled up on Sherry Shepherd. That is a big
word.
That was
the fact that people are excited to watch Slammiversary.
Yep.
For the first time in how long?
Mercedes and Trinity are pushing the needle, and that's exactly what we knew what was going to happen.
We knew it right here in the TWG universe.
We did call that. But I fan club next week. Don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but we will get into it. We'll talk more offline about next week, but I love the replays on YouTube. So if you're not able to come to fan club live, you can always catch the replay on Twitch and YouTube. It's always a good time because people are able to go back and sort of chime into the conversation, because that's what fan club is. It's our weekly wrestling fan club. We all get together, we talk wrestling, and it's my favorite day of the week. And today was one of those crazy days in wrestling where just a lot of nonsense has been happening, and in the world too. So it was really good being able to get together with all of you and the crew and talk about some of our favorite moments, because we could, wrestling fans are complaining, but it's nice when we can sit and actually like talk about like what we really loved and what we're excited about, and being even more excited about what's to come for the rest of the year.
Well, one thing I was going to touch on real quick, P. When you brought up like wrestling been hitting, but even like when there's the down period, the best thing about the fan club is we can go back in the archives and talk about stuff that we didn't get to talk about when we was all growing up. Like we can go into review an Attitude Era show or review some of our favorite moments. So it's a great time to be a content creator, especially, and thanks to all the fans that come through the fan club that share their moments with us. That's the fun part too, being able to see what the Rakashas, the Vaughns, the Wealth Warriors, the Dylans, and everybody else come in and they drop their little nuggets, and we chat on it. So it's a lot of fun.
It is. It really, really is. And we're always open to anything you guys want to talk about. Just tweet us, go on Instagram, #TWG Fan Club. We will talk about it. We are here to indulge, because that's why we all love wrestling. So where can everyone find the crew?
Well, you can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. You can find me here Wednesday nights on Twitch for our TWG fan club with these three beautiful, illustrious, talented, smart co-hosts of mine. You can find me from time to time on Turnbuckle Talk with Mimi and Corey on Twitter Spaces. Right now they're doing a hiatus, but they will be back in July. You can catch me from time to time on True Hill Heat Sports and True Hill Heat Wrestling. Both of those channels are located on YouTube, where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. We here, we outside, we active. Stop being tribalism with the whole wrestling stuff. Enjoy. This is for everybody.
Y'all, first off, on the Twitter's verse, MJF said to Adam Cole, that's an awful lot of talk coming from Keith Lee's manager. Apparently that segment is one to watch because apparently he cooked them, but then people saying Adam Cole cooked them, so I just knew it was on forever. Yeah, just hey man, that AEW. But yeah, y'all can find me Brian H. Waters all social media platforms. Make sure you check out this week's episode of Wednesday Worldwide. We had the co-creators of Dark Side in the Ring, Dark Side of the Ring, Jason and Evan on. Shout out to them.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a dope interview. They really talked about, the Magnum TA episode, and then I thanked them for the Bruiser Brody, and then they just went in on about how much they had fun with that one and how much they loved it. So it was a great insight with them. So shout out to them for joining us. And then of course, Ben reacted to Rosenberg calling LA Knight a 2023 PC Eugene. So yeah, that happened. But tonight on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, we're going to take a dive into what happened this past week in wrestling between the Bloodline, Bryan Danielson and Okada, and so much more. So make sure y'all check me out tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Also check out the guy Brandon Guy's Championship Culture episode where he talked about which strap matter, the red or the blue, but now it's black again. So, or I should say black and gold.
Good show. Good shit.
Go ahead, CN. No, go ahead.
Tony Khan's announcement, y'all.
Get the straps.
Who gives a fuck? Anyway, you can catch me, and as always, it's your honor. God damn it.
Strap master.
Okay. And as always, it's your honorary wrestling girl. I need to breathe. Hold on. Why would you see a strap master? Now I'm not gonna get that out of my head. Thanks, guys.
Strap master 9000.
First ever main
event. Okay. And as always, it's your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. You can catch me on Wednesdays, per usual, with the three bestest friends that anybody can have that always make me laugh at the last minute. You can also catch me on Instagram at reload.relive. You can catch me on Twitter at reload via film, where I talk all the shit that I want because I can back it up. Camera caught in 18 millimeters back this weekend because I went to a lot of food festivals and I want you guys to all see. Plus, shout out to my cousin Najwa. It's her birthday and she allowed me to take a lot of pictures, so that will be back and posted up soon. You can also catch me on YouTube at reload.relive. You can also catch The Well Minority on all social platforms at The Well Minority. And also, once again, big shout out to Stephanie Hardy and Hardy Wrestling Podcast for having me on their show. That episode is now on Apple and all your podcast streaming devices and also on YouTube. And please, everybody, be safe for this air because it is something serious. And I want you all to return so I can hear your wonderful opinions and laugh with y'all. Air quality better once again.
Yep. And I want to thank all of our loyal VIP fan club members for joining us. Rakarsha, Andre, Vaughn, Dylan, I saw Black Thoughts in here earlier. Mike, all of you guys, we love you. Make sure you hashtag TWG Fan Club. Share that Twitch link we have. We stream literally every single week. There is content streaming on Twitch at least 2-3 days a week. Check out Justin's YouTube channel. Follow Seindole everywhere. She's awesome. Google Brian H. Waters because he's clearly Hollywood, and stay in touch with everything that he's doing. And let's continue the support. I love everything that's happening. Shout out to Black Wrestling and all the hard work I'm sure they're putting into the BRP 50. We are very excited for that list. Shout out to all the wrestlers that we've considered breakout stars this year. Everyone that found their groove so far and that has a bigger year coming for them. We are very excited for it all, and we will see you guys next week. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m.
See y'all.